Hello, everybody. This is Paul Pona. We are now live. I am super excited to have you all here. Now, a lot of cool things to share with you folks, a lot of things to give away today, a lot of exciting things as well happening today as well, right? Now, a couple of things real quick that I want to mention here, real quick, while we are getting underway here is if you're having any issues with hearing my audio or whatever it might be, let me know, okay? So that I can kind of make sure that things are solid and that's working perfectly as they should, right? Now, in this live stream, I'm going to do a couple of important things here. First of all, two people will be winning $100 each just for joining in live. So what I'm going to do is from the comments box. So just make sure you post in the comments box. Like, for example, I see Jason is here. I see you see here, D. Dickinson's here. We have Learn from Gisan is here, right? We have TV40. So any one of you folks, what I'm going to do is as we go along, I'm going to be announcing winners. Okay, two people will win $100 each. I might even go more than that. Let's see. I want to give away a lot more other prizes as well today. Let's see. It's going to be some fun stuff all along. Now, this is going to be sort of like our closing party webinar for Artistly.ai. And also I'm going to talk about what the AI landscape is in a nutshell and that sort of thing as well today. Now, real quick, while we're at it here, let me just quickly share my screen here real quick while we are in here. Now, just a couple of quick points here while I'm at it. Just understand that when we always talk about new elements and new strategies and things like that, always remember that I always try to make sure that I make it as easy as possible for you to use, right? Ease of use is very important, right? First of all, more than anything else, everything sounds cool until it's not that easy to use, right? So I'm seeing in here a lot of you folks joining in, so we'll get to that in just a bit. Quincy is here, Latson is here, Mitendra is here, Edwin's here, awesome. Then we have Eric here, Jocelyn's here, awesome. Omar is here, Curtis is here. So we are live, obviously. Sabrina's here, hey. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to be giving all the cool prizes and all that stuff. That's great. But I will also go a step further than that today so we can talk about some other cool things that will help you, assist you to get your business to the next level, okay? When it comes to AI and some other concepts as well, not just the giveaway, which is awesome, it's fun, yeah, but also we'll go more than that, okay? So awesome to see a lot of you folks here as well. And excellent to see all you here joining in. Now, I will be making this as interactive as possible, okay? So every single person who's attending, obviously I'm seeing your questions, I'm seeing your points, I'm seeing your notes, all this other cool stuff. That's not a problem at all. But what I want to make sure is that you are going to be here and you're going to have a lot of fun as we go along through this process, okay? All right, so let's do my, let's add my screen in here real quick. So this is basically the, as you can see here, the Artistly.ai application. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, we've been running the Artistly application 14-day free trial as a giveaway special to try out, test drive this application. And if you haven't already, go to that link that you see there right below. Okay, you see this right here, 14-day free trial, artistly.ai/go. That is the special link. Okay, now I just want to make sure that you understand though, that you see that link right there, that is basically going to be closing down very soon. We're planning on tomorrow, so depending on which part of the world time zones you're in, it could be a few hours, maybe slightly more than that, whatever the case might be. That 14-day free trial will be removed permanently. Okay, we wanted to do as a giveaway, then it just, what happened was our first time I did the live webinar just like this one, we had over 2,000 people come in live, and then what happened is effectively crashed everything. We broke all records and all that kind of stuff. And then I had 500 people messaging in our Facebook group, in our Skype group, and messaging me everywhere and saying, look, can you keep this up a little bit more, because we got locked out of the webinar, we couldn't attend due to time zone issues and all this other stuff. And so I just want to do that for you folks to give enough warning, okay? Once this free trial is removed, just again, to keep it clear, just as transparent, just say, don't say I didn't warn you enough. Once it's removed, the price shoots up, right? Obviously. And secondly, you will have to pay the full price. I'll get to that in just a second. And so basically you'll not have the opportunity to try it out, basically generate some revenue from it, and then use this free trial option to pay for it after you generate revenue effectively, right? So that's the basic idea here as well. That was a giveaway that I wanted to do. So I'm seeing a lot of great feedback about the application as well, which is awesome to see. Now, A couple of things that I wanted to really quickly mention here, while some of you folks are still joining in and all that. See, in Artistly, it's not just one application. Okay, it has AI Image Designer. That is application number one. Application number two is the AI Background Designer. Okay, application number two. Application number three is the AI Upscaler. It's application number three, and application number four is AI Stylizer. And I'll go through each one of these today. Okay, by the way. And then application number five, Design to Prompt. And then application number six is AI in Painter. And the seventh one is the AI prompt extender. Then of course you got the personal designs and all that. Now we are adding one or two other applications, so to speak, in here that's going to be added in soon. Obviously, we're going to make it easy and make it probably easy for you to navigate through it and all that. And I'll talk about that. Those will be the bonus add-ons that we're giving folks who join in today. So those who join in later on, they'll have to pay more, right? Obviously. And then secondly, these bonuses will be removed for them. They're not going to get them available. We know that because we do that from the account level itself. Those who get in right now will get access to those bonuses. Those who get in later, first of all, they'll have to pay extra to get those if they want those add-ons. I'll talk about what those add-ons are in just a bit. And you don't have to pay anything extra. Okay, just want to be clear. Others will have to. Okay, I just want to make this as awesome as possible. Like, let me give you an example. Okay, I have here the AI upscaler option right here. We recently just added in, right? You see, I selected this image right here, which is kind of like a blurry 19, whatever, 40s, 50s, 60s image. And then if you see here, we have select resolution. So you can upscale this to a higher quality. But upscaling an already blurry image like this into, with like a lot of, you see those cuts and bruises, it's a bruised image into this is not the best approach, right? So what we did is just look at this little part here. I want to kind of zoom this in so you can see it. Improve human photos, okay? This was added in just yesterday, actually. And so we're making a lot of additional options like this one. I'll get to this in detail in just a bit, but the idea is I just wanted to kind of mention how deep we're going in with this, right? Like basically every little feature, like this one right here could be an whole new application. You choose this option right here, get selected. Now what's going to happen is you're going to improve the facial features of this image. I'll show you the examples and stuff like that in just a second, but I just want to show you here, when you're making new changes, it might not appear like, oh wow, there's like no new tabs coming in on the top here. No. It's more like, well, we're adding in within easy to use options like what you see here, right? You press this, improve human photos, anything blurry, any image that you generated which is not that high quality, or maybe in sometimes there's blurriness around the nose area, the teeth area, or maybe around the face or whatever, it'll make that better quality. Okay, I'll show you some end results in just a bit as well, because I'll have a lot of cool things to show and give away and all that kind of stuff, okay? All right. Now, while we are at it, just one quick point I want to make. Let me zoom in here. I'm seeing here some great comments here real quick. Again, I said two people in the next few minutes. Like I'll pick the first $100 winner from the comment section here right now. Okay. So I see, Marina James, I have John here. I have Donald here. Awesome. And I have Rafit here. I have Mark here. I have Distributora, Tamira. Awesome. Nice to see you here. We have Rajat. Hey, nice to see you here, John. All right. Awesome. Okay. Excellent to see all you folks here. All right. And so, yeah, so I'll be covering some of these elements here in depth. Okay. I'm going to go into my computer screen and show you some other cool things. But I want to also make this a lot more fun. At the end of the day, if I don't make it fun, then kind of what's the point, right? We want to make it as fun as possible effectively. All right. Now, a couple of things real quick here that I wanted to also mention here while, you folks are jumping in and answering some cool questions, and some other cool points here that I want to mention here as well is what's happening with AI right now, okay? Because there's a lot of talk about AI. There's a lot of talk about, okay, this is exciting, that is exciting and all that. What's happening? So I kind of wanted to give you an idea of where the landscape is going. Whether you got Artistly or not, you can get artistly.ai/go here. That's fine. You get it or not, but just want to give you what's happening. Okay. In the last 2 years, have spent close to $2 million in AI-based projects, research, servers, infrastructure, all this mumbo jumbo stuff, right? So now I've even, by the way, gone in depth on the infrastructure side. I'll show you some points there. So how AI is shaping up right now, just so you folks understand, is that you need machine learning engineers or AI engineers, right? These are the folks like who will actually build a model or research and figure out different options. In the case of Artistly, it's AI. You give a text and it gives an image. That's not just the start. We can manipulate that image. We can make it a little bit higher quality. You can stylize it, all that kind of stuff, right? That's clear. On the second layer, to basically make this happen, right? Not only is a machine learning engineer, AI engineer doing that work, on the second layer, what happens is you need infrastructure. What we mean by infrastructure is you need servers, you need graphics cards. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't know graphics cards used to be used for gaming, right? Well, NVIDIA, they figured out something over the last 10 years. They figured out these new AI chips, right? Or chips as in not in like chips that we eat, but more like graphic processing chips, right? And they can now do AI-based workloads, like what we're talking about with Artistly or any kind of option right here. In our case with HumanPal, those who have HumanPal, right? That was basically where you give a text and you have a human spokesperson speaking. Well, that is an AI model itself, like an AI researcher sits and figures out lip sync and other factors, right? So you have, first of all, you have the engineer figuring out that idea. We get that idea into motion. Then secondly, we have the infrastructure, which is the NVIDIA graphics processing chips, which are very expensive. And the third layer you're going to have is these servers, right? These are Amazon, Google Cloud, or Microsoft. These are ones where they have these big data centers, where they have these racks of servers. You're going to need that. So that way what happens is every time you're generating an image, right, with Artistly or anything like that, there is a lot of number crunching happening behind the scenes. Imagine the computer is solving all these number crunching stuff, and then it gives the solution. Okay, that's the basic idea of how this whole process works. Now, one cool way to look at this from a more practical standpoint, right, is just think about it where you used to use back in the day, we used to use these big mainframe computers, right? And then a calculator replaced that big mainframe computer, right? I remember my dad back in the day, like 25, 30 years ago, he took me to this mainframe room in some old university, and he's like, this was our computer. We were using this back in the day. And I was like, okay, whoa, that's crazy. I've never seen anything like this. And then he said, look, this is the calculator, and this replaced what this number crunching used to be. And then what happened? We have these phones, right? In this case, mine is like a flip phone or whatever, right? So this replaced the computer, right? You have as much of a power on a phone now that a computer has, right? You know what I mean? So this is the layer of technology. For artificial intelligence, machine learning, as we like to call it, we are in that mainframe era still. You need these cumbersome servers. You need these expensive data centers. You need all this other stuff. You need a lot of electricity too, in a weird way, to power all this stuff, to do all this number crunching and make that decision at the end, right? So that's the reason why it is an extremely expensive endeavor right now. We're in the early stages. Like think of it like back in the day, mainframe computers came, and then Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Well, Steve Jobs, he will say he was the first one, but Xerox and there's other companies, IBM, working on it. But the idea is, they came up with the personal computer, right? So we are in the same era of the mainframe computer, and now the AI space will gonna move into the personal computer and then eventually into mobile, right? So meaning there is not been a personal computer era for AI yet. That's gonna be the big one, right? Where common everyday people use it. And then the third one will be, well, you're gonna have AI in your palm, right? And some way or the other, right? So that's where the research is headed. So those who think, oh, am I too late? Well, ChatGPT came in, and then a lot of the other buzz stuff is done. Well, it doesn't work that way, okay? So you have to understand it, how this whole game works, right? You start off very cumbersome. You're going to start off with like something that doesn't work that well. It's basically a lot of experimental stuff. It consumes a lot of electricity. There's no room and space and stuff. And then you move to the next stage, okay? So I kind of wanted to also, mention these things where you understand also in a more practical sense, okay? So when I say stuff like, let's say, for example, in the case of NVIDIA and all these GPUs, what's happening is you see these, right? So you can go and search in Google as well, NVIDIA H100 pod or something, and then you're going to see these like pods, right? So that's what Microsoft and OpenAI and all these folks, they're creating some things like these monstrous things where they put these server racks, like these big server racks like these, and then they're gonna put the GPUs inside, right? And this alone, like this one right here, okay, this pod, like this one right here, this one pod, It's right now goes all the way from $8 million just to buy it, not even manage it, right? The electricity costs and stuff are expensive, to all the way to 32 million. So you have companies like OpenAI, Midjourney, and some of the other companies. They're buying out these racks, and they're currently like completely out of stock. Does that make sense? So that's the basic idea. So they're like buying out these things, and it's ridiculous if you think about it, right? So that's the basic idea. That's what's happening right now across the globe, whether we like it or not. That's what's happening, right? So now, how do we make sense of this then? Where are we headed? So what's going to happen eventually is this pod right here, which is the infrastructure layer, is probably only going to become one, right? They're going to create these things where it's going to become just one. So it's going to be 1/10 as expensive, right? Now, what's been my goal here? Let's talk about this. Like, what's my goal here? So, what I'm betting on is that this is going to happen. It has to happen. So, I'm spending for this entire layer here, like what you see here, I'm spending that money. Like, instead of paying 8 million or 32 million, I'll spend 50,000, 70,000 a month to rent these, right? From a Microsoft, from a Google, from an Amazon, or whatever it might be. And then once I rent these things out, I'm going to basically wait for a year, right? So I'm going to pay, let's say 600,000, 700,000 in the next year. But what's going to happen is after year two, year three, that 700,000 is going to become cheaper and cheaper as technology advances, because a lot of companies are working in this layer. Like recently, we got invited by Amazon to also test drive some of their new chips that they're working on. AMD is working on some of these things, right? So Nvidia is the monopoly right now. So effectively, they can price whatever they want. Like they can say this thing is worth 50 million, somebody will pay 50 million because they have no other choice, right? And big corporations are doing that right now. So anyway, the point I'm making here is that that's my bet. So what I'm doing is I'm paying the big money now. I'm going to give it to you still at the lowest possible price, these AI technologies, Artistly being one. No need for you to pay any monthly fees, credits, yearly fees, all that mumbo jumbo stuff. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet on the actual technology becoming cheaper with time, which it always does. I've done this in the past, by the way. Back in the day, I created some technologies in the past where, let's say 3 years, 4 years ago, same thing happened, right? Technologies which become shrink in size, become cheaper, right? Because competition means better. Like imagine your iPhone back in the day, right? 8 years ago, and compare your iPhone today. I mean, it's night and day difference, right? So that's what happens in technologies. So that's basically what I generally do. And that's generally been my basic workflow, right? So now, generally, when I say stuff like this, it all sounds good in theory, but how do we make sense of this in reality? Okay, so basically, in the case of Artistly, that's what we are effectively doing here. So if you go into Artistly application, we're adding all these features that which other people are charging monthly fees, credits, and stuff like that. And I'll get to that in just a second, more detail on that too. But the idea is I'm basically effectively giving it to you at either break even or a slight loss, right? Probably a little bit more, 10 to 15% or whatever. Now, why am I doing that? Well, it's because I have other businesses that generate me revenue anyway. So I'm one of the top consultants in many industries. So I'm part of that. And there's other revenue sources that I get. So it's not a big deal for me right now to give it to you at cost, because then I can foster good customer experience. You will love it and all that. And then what happens is over time, as the technology becomes cheaper, we can reach new customers, and then we'll make a profit from that over the next few months, a year, or so on, right? Now, how am I confident on that? Well, there's a lot of these so-called lifetime deal companies that go out of business, and then they blame whatever situation they hide behind these companies. You have no clue who is behind them, right? Well, here I'm putting my name on the line. So basically what's happening in these things is these folks come in, they do, okay, I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to go and I'm going to just rent out these servers, right? And then what happens is once they do that, they basically cannot make sense of it because they don't have, first of all, other revenue streams. And secondly, they also don't have a way to really get their business to the next level. Both of these, which we have experience with, right? Been doing this for 15 years now, full time, right? Now, why I want you to pay attention to what's happening right now is you can do this stuff on your own too, by the way, okay? So you can go to Google and you can go to this website called instances, .sh, okay? This is basically a platform. Well, this is showing images. Let's go to the main thing. All right, so you go into here, instances.vantage.sh, sorry, all right? Anyway, what you can find here is you can find the server costs, what's happening in the space, right? So the GPU servers, that which we're talking about, that which you can use for technologies like Artistly and all that stuff, are what we like to call the P4D instance type, okay? And you'll see that as well quite a bit in the marketplace and all that. But anyway, so when you click on this one, right, this is what you're looking for, right? NVIDIA A100, okay? These are the server types. If you want to actually going to check how this thing looks like too, even, it looks something like this, okay? I don't know, whatever. It looks something like this, right? So this is quite expensive these days, okay? So what we do, and this is something people don't understand, is what we do is right now it costs $32.77 in order to get this, right? We can get this somewhere around this $12 an hour, where effectively what we have to do is we have to prepay to Amazon like 50,000, 100,000 or whatever it is in order to reserve this instance for a period of time. Or alternatively, we'll also get special deals because, you know, we spend a lot of money. So in other words, this saving that we are getting from here to here, we pass it straight to you, the consumer, or you, a customer of ours, right? And what happens on the other hand, though, a lot of these startups, what they do is because they don't have long-term mindset, right? What they'll do, the so-called lifetime deal companies, so they'll come, they'll pay this $32, and after 1 month or 2 months, when they cannot get new customers, then they shut down because it's not sustainable, this number, right? And this is what happens quite a bit. Right now, what we're noticing in all AI projects, 80% of the cost is servers, okay? I'm telling this to you so you folks understand, when you buy from somebody, some guru or some YouTube ad you see or some Facebook ad or whatever, understand that that person is spending 80% right now on these servers of their money. So effectively, you spend $100 with them, $80 of that is going to server costs, these GPU servers to NVIDIA, Amazon, Google, all these other companies, right? And so what they are betting on and they're hoping and praying is that they can make you, push you into a recurring subscription or upsell you or something else. And if you don't end up buying that or whatever happens, what happens is that they cannot sustain this number right here and then they shut down. Okay? And it's important you understand, because if you want to talk about the AI space, what's happening in the future, and this is something that I'm living and breathing every day, right? I've spent $2 million just on research alone, right? And stuff like this, where I've talked to Amazon, I've talked to people over at Google, I've been to conferences, right? And I'm in this space, I'm breathing, living and breathing the space, right? So what we're noticing is that when people are spending 80% on this, that's not including programmer costs or customer support costs, right? And all these other things. When you go into their website, everything sounds cool, right? After 6 months, they're going to be out of business. Or even worse, what they're going to do is effectively the application will not work. You know what I mean? You log in, but it ain't going to work, right? So this is the reality, okay? And that's the reason why I'm saying when you're getting it from somebody, understand where, like any technology, AI technology, understand first of all, basically that this is expensive to run. Secondly, also understand the track record of the people behind it, and also understand that if 80% of it is this way, the only two ways that they can make it work is either they have to raise a bunch of venture capital, which is hard right now. Nobody's giving money to anybody in this high interest rate environment. And secondly, effectively, they need other income sources, okay? Like they have to bring some other money from somewhere else to sustain this at these costs, right? They're going to go down, obviously, but will they be sustained until that point, right? So I'll show you some examples as well today as we go along, but it's very important you understand this, okay? I know it sounds easy. I understand it sounds simple. I understand it sometimes even makes some people angry about some things that I mentioned sometimes, in a sense that, look, it's expensive. These servers are not cheap. Look, this is the reason why we're pricing it this way, and you're still getting it to the lowest possible price. Like if you go into like basic stuff, right? Let's say Mid-Journey pricing. I would say Artistly's only competitor would be Midjourney right now. And by the way, just a quick understanding here, Midjourney right now is making hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and all that stuff. So anyway, when they're at that level, look at this one right here. And I just wanted you to understand this point. You see how when they say fast GPU time for their $10 per month plan, and then they say $15 an hour and stuff like that. You see these ones right here? What they're effectively running for these is this infrastructure here. That's what is happening. Does that make sense? In the case of Midjourney, because they're a very big company, they could probably be getting these servers at between these two price points, because I know who negotiated that deal with Google. Midjourney folks negotiated with Google behind the scenes. But anyway, this is what they mean. Okay, does that make sense? So you need to understand, if this company, which even has a monthly subscription of up to $120 a month, right? If they're only providing you 60 hours per month, that's like 2 hours a day, right? Of that higher end GPU, they understand what the heck is happening, right? In terms of right now, the GPU shortage is happening in the AI space and all that. Why I'm mentioning this to you is the idea is you need to understand, keep in the back of your mind that yes, our technology, we're going to give it to you at the lowest possible price. And if it needed, we'll lose some money here and there because I'm betting on the bigger future, right? Like I'm betting on the fact that in the future, things will become cheaper, and they always will, right? And so at the end of the day, you got to sustain until that period of time, right? So that's why when I say in the last 10 years, we've done a lot of great deals, we've given it to customers and never really had anything go down, simply because of this. I have other income sources that I bring in to sustain these projects, right? And that's where you can be basically, if you will, have a little bit of stress-free atmosphere when you're using an application like, let's say, Artistly or whatever the case might be, right? So that's the main thing I wanted to mention here, okay? Just understand, for the AI space to boom in the near future, which it will, what you have to understand is that the big money right now is in the infrastructure behind the scenes. The person behind the scenes has to handle that infrastructure and be able to pay for that infrastructure, okay? And if they're unable to pay, or if they're never going to answer how much they're paying for something, then you got to avoid them. Okay, I hate doing this. I don't like to be us versus them mentality. But the point being that you have to understand that if you want to buy something today and you want it to last 2, 3, 4 years, understand that the technology, the infrastructure is what's going to be more important than anything else, right? And you got to know who's behind that infrastructure. Is that person have any track record? Tell them to log in to their dashboard and show you how much they're spending right now. Let me actually do this again, because I kind of do it sometimes. And some people feel it's a show off or whatever. It's not a show off, actually, because I mean, this is something I'm paying every single month, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is that this is the stuff, this is the level of stuff that you have to understand, and this is the level of stuff that we are playing at the level we are playing right now. It's not a joke, right? It's pretty serious stuff, because you have to understand that we're not cheapening ourselves out in the lowest possible technology, but we're actually going in and spending the big bucks for you. Because I can show you how great some technologies are with AI and all that, but the point is you have to understand that people have to invest that kind of money into you. It's almost like your own business, right? Otherwise, what's the point, right? So that's the basic idea. You have to understand, and you have to keep this in the back of your mind, all right? So like, basically, this is the main mistake people make all the time, right? So that when people are making these mistakes, it just basically hurts other people in the ecosystem, because then what happens is you buy from somebody and then you hate everybody in the marketplace because they didn't do a good job, right? Of taking care of you, in a nutshell, right? So let me actually open up something real quick, and I'll kind of will show you this stuff so you understand, okay? So let me actually pull this up screen real quick. All right. So this is our Amazon Web Services account, right? And last month we paid $28,684.94 on this one. Now let me show you our Google one, right? This is Google right here. You see, this is Google Cloud, right? The previous one was Amazon Web Services, right? This is Google Cloud here. Right now, this one was 11,805. So there's two projects we're running. So these are the two. If so, that means basically 11,805 plus 28,000 something is 40,000 plus. And this is not including the other stuff we have, right? With other companies out there, right? And so that's probably going to be around 50,000 a month right now. And most of this stuff is because of those GPU servers. I mean, those are expensive, right? Those NVIDIA stuff right now. And it's only going to go up in the near term, right? It's going to go up to probably like maybe like another 20, 30, 40% in the near term, because of the shortage. They're not building enough of them. They fabricate these things in Taiwan by TSMC, which is a Taiwan semiconductor company. And that one company does the chips for AMD, for Apple, for NVIDIA, all these guys. And they don't have the capacity to produce more of these at this point in time, okay? Now, the reason why I'm showing you this stuff, folks, is just so understand, right? There's a lot of so-called these folks out there talking about like, oh, I have this great, awesome thing you have to check out, but tell them to show you what they're spending right now, right? Because it's the saddest thing, right? Like you are so excited about a technology, like what I'm showing you right now, and you're so excited, and then at the end of the day, like this happens, right? Which is basically where people don't have your best interest at heart, will just promise you something, don't keep up something because they cannot handle the expenses, they don't show you how much they're spending, and then they're gone, they disappear, right? Or more so, even worse, they don't make their app usable, so then effectively what you purchase becomes digital junk, right? Effectively, right? So this is the other thing that I kind of wanted to mention to you folks as well, real quick. Okay, is that cool? All right. So now, while we are here, so I just let me quickly go in and share my screen here real quick, and I'll also show you a little bit about the infrastructure. Last thing, that I'll announce the first $100 winner, because there's some people joining in just now, and I'll just show you a little bit about how we handle our infrastructure and all that. Because again, AI, this is important. Okay. On different layers, okay? And just do like one last thing for last, if this stuff is interesting for you, let me know in the chat box, because, so that way it's pretty interesting and stuff for you, okay? If this is interesting, obviously. Anyway, so how we do it, okay? So this is one of my account. Again, so this is basically how we track our cloud and whatever you're spending on Amazon and all that. Anyway, so the point being that you see we have October, September, and all that. So how we do it is we scale based upon demand, right? Like right now, there's about 1,038 projects being created by people. There's 72 of those big servers running that I showed you. 842 backups are being done right now, and EBS is basically what storage, right? Like storage, like storing all your projects and stuff like that, right? And this fluctuates on a second by second basis, day by day basis, and all this other stuff, right? So now, so when I come back and effectively what I wanted to show you is, let me actually share. So when we talk about Artistly, right, and other applications right now, is we have a lot of cool things to share with you. I can share with you all the other cool stuff, all the cool information, and all that great stuff. Great, right? But understand that when you're using these applications, these AI applications, and a lot of these people are trying to, so-called gurus are trying to create courses on this stuff. Creating a course is easy, right? I can just jump in on a camera like this one, create a course, how to use AI, go buy Midjourney, go buy OpenAI, pay a monthly fee with them or whatever. That's easy stuff, right? I can charge $1,000 for it. There's zero actual cost for me, right? Other than sitting in front of the computer recording it. And I could be done with that. But the people who are actually in the trenches right now building these technologies, they're paying 80% of their money goes into the infrastructure, right? So understand that when you talk about longevity, the first question you should be asking any guru you buy, whatever the price might be, even if it's a $2,000 product, right? How much are you spending in the server infrastructure? If that number is anything less than $20,000 to $30,000 a month, okay, then they're not going to be sustainable. What they're betting on is effectively you're going to stop using the application, or for that matter, you're going to forget about it or whatever, right? And this is the issue. This is the reason why people don't get success, right? It's the saddest thing. It's because you bought something, you're excited, and then at the end of the day, that person cannot handle the infrastructure, and then basically that application kind of stalls there, never really becomes better, or in fact, it gets worse, and then you never get results because at the end of the day, those people cannot sustain the cost, right? And so therefore, they cannot further do other things with it, okay? Now, the other point I'm going to do, and let me announce the first $100 winner here, just for people attending this. That's going to be awesome. So let's see here. Again, I'm just picking it from the comment section. I'll give you a minute for people to post here because randomly we have to pick one winner, right? So just wanted to make this as as interesting. And I'm going to note down your name, so we'll post that into our group as well. We'll post it in our Facebook group and stuff like that as well. Okay, the winners, all right? It's transparent and everything else like that. All right, so. All right, so here we go. So the first $100 winner is, congrats to, here we go. Again, this is basically our randomly chosen, okay, folks? All right, so the winner is, congrats to, here we go. Congrats to Patrick Sirius. You win $100, Patrick. All right, excellent. Congrats to you, Patrick. You are our first $100 winner. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, Patrick, is I'm gonna note down, right, your name here. Let me actually do that right now. So, and then after that, basically, just watch out. We're gonna basically get you in touch with you on how you can get the $100. Okay. I'll also post you in our Facebook group so it's transparent. Okay, Patrick. All right. So congrats to you, by the way. All right. So we have one more winner. I'll be giving him in a few more minutes. Let's see. It's gonna be awesome. All right. So all right. So now let's do a couple of things here. Okay, real quick. So those of you who did not get Artistly, again, just want to remind you. The 14-day free trial is closing down. It's tomorrow, we're planning. So I don't know what time zone you're in and all that. So by the time you log in, it might be too late in the next few hours, or I don't know, whenever. So I just want to mention it's closing down. Once we close it down, you're not going to get a chance to get the free trial again. And even if you were to get it, it's not going to be the same price. It's going to have a lot of add-ons to be added. All the other bonuses we're going to be adding will be removed as well. Okay, does that make sense? So just want to be clear. So just make sure you go to artistly.ai/go, and also ask me any questions you have on the application as well. Now, one thing I want to mention here is Artistly is an AI image generator, right? Obviously, that's all fine. I'm going to go into detail on some of the features, but what I wanted to do is we thought through what would be the major issues somebody would be facing. And so because of that, we added the roadmap for Artistly, okay? This is something that is, I believe, the most important thing somebody can really do, right? So we added our roadmap for Artistly recently. So you can go to roadmap.artistly.ai, and then you can basically suggest your changes. So there we go. These were the changes that were suggested and voted on, and you can add in new here. Okay, so it's roadmap.artistly.ai. Not really complicated. If you're a user, you already got the link. But anyway, let's look at this one, right? The first request here is remove backgrounds from images. I'll have the option to download them from the PNG format with a transparent background, right? So the idea is, if I'm correct, well, I am correct because I know what this issue is. So the point was that, hey, in the AI image designer, when I click on a design, what's happening is that it changes the design to whatever prompt I give, right? So it will change it to, let's say, desert background, whatever. The idea was to export it as a PNG, just as a simple transparent background, right? So that is going to be in our priority. It already is. It's going to be done in the next couple of days or so. Okay. So we're going to put priority on that, right? So let's say there are other ones here as well, depending on whatever it might be, right? You see this right here. So all these, they're going to be doing them in the checklist that we effectively get them with. Does that make sense? Hope that is giving you some clarity here. All right, so that's the roadmap, and nobody is doing that in the industry these days, especially for lifetime deals. Unfortunately, this is very important because I have so many cool things I want to do, but yours will always be priority. Like, look at this one right here. Repair and enhance old photos with AI. Actually, this is completed, right? I told you it was done yesterday, right? So what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to mark it as complete. So this one basically is basically this one right here. Remember I shared with you, which was when you do the AI upscaler, you click on a design. So let's say I just choose some design, I mean, right now. And this is right here. You see improve human photos. That's the one, okay? So that's the one where you can change any old human photos. So let's say, for example, you have a blurry photo like this one. You can improve that just by choosing that improve photos. That's the one. So I'll mark that as complete. It was a big request. So this is how we're going in. We see this request there, and then we go into the next stage, and next stage, and next stage, okay? So basically, I'll just put up the link in case you folks wanted it. So that will be the basically roadmap.artistly.ai. Okay, cool. So let me just put that up link right now. So it'll be that roadmap.artistly.ai. You see that link right now, right? So you can go in and you can add your requests in and that sort of thing. And we're constantly updating it every single day. All right. Now, the other thing that I want to mention here real quick as well is in the roadmap, well, how we'll always do is that, first of all, bugs will always be priority. So like something is broken, some button is not working as it needed. You don't even have to mention in the roadmap, it'll always be priority, right? And secondly, stuff that we already, I'll show you some other features we're coming up with, stuff we already have, those will also become priority anyways, okay? These are stuff that you want to add. So let's say, for example, when you go into the AI image designer, you see this photorealistic, 2D, 3D, all this other stuff. This basically, we have 300 different categories like these that we have already created. Based on your request, we're going to put more of these effectively, right? That's what basically the bonuses that you have to, that I'm going to get to in just a second, right? Now, the other thing that I want to mention here real quick is one of the things that happens, right? And you're noticing this probably. You're like, Paul, just get to it, where like enter something here. I don't want this to be a blank screen. So basically, this is the biggest issue, right? Always it's like, oh, what do I enter here? I don't know. Like I don't know what to enter here, right? So if I go into my personal designs, I want to show you something here real quick, okay? So I wanted to create a design here, right? So let me actually show you this one. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me go down here. Yeah. So this one right here. So a time traveling car set to transport its users to any era in history, right? So this is basically natural language, meaning I'm just saying, look, Paul, create, like if you're a designer, right? You're talking to a designer who's working and is charging you $25 an hour, $50 an hour, whatever it might be, right? You tell them, I want an image of, or a client will ask you this, I want an image of a time traveling car to transport its users in any era in history. And then you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna go to Artistly and try to generate it. And it's gonna generate this image, which is okay. Well, right? It's some 1920s or whatever, these Ford vehicles, right? And I tried another. Remember with Artistly, every time you do a new generation, it creates a new style, right? So it created another style. This was the other style, right? But what is so time traveling about this? This is just some old school, mobile car, right? It's great. It's good quality. I don't deny that. It's great quality. But what is the use case? This is the issue with Midjourney, with other AI applications out there, where you have to give it a bunch of detailed prompts in order to, or positive prompts, negative prompts, and all that to get this result, right? So the idea was then, what will get us the good result? So I got this result. Wow, this one is good, eh? So look at this one. This is like actually a time traveling car, right? It's a time traveling car. You have that little time machine thing, portal kind of thing in the background, right? Look at that. So the portal in the background, you have also this time traveling kind of a design here. This is something like Indiana Jones, like in the Indiana Jones movies. This is probably what they would have when we say a time traveling car, right? Obviously, they not had the first example. Like Indiana Jones would not have, or like a Hollywood movie would not have this as a time traveling car. It wouldn't make any sense. It would be something like this, right? Let's see another example here. There's another one, right? And this one I put 2D, 3D animated style, right? So you see this one right here. Makes sense, right? It's a time traveling circle around it and all that. Now, what was the difference? Let's talk about that, right? So what was the difference here? Like, was it basically the fact that this one is just a bland car and this one has the idea of a time traveling car, right? Well, the difference is the prompts, okay? You see this right here. This one right here, I had time traveling car capable of transporting users to any era, vintage automobile design infused with futuristic technology, gears, vortex, blah, 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 right? And it has all this other styles, right? And there's also special and negative prompts, which is I don't want unrealistic eyes, modern car, static environment, present day, because it's old school, right? Low quality, blah, 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 right? This is where people give up, right? AI tools are great, but they give up exactly at this point in time. And I've done that too, because who likes to sit in front of a screen and just type all this stuff? It's just too daunting, right? To be a prompt engineer. So I figured out a way, right, where this is basically computer language, right? So let's just write it in simple terms so you understand, okay? This right here is computer, okay, language, right? So this is how a computer would understand it. The other way, where it was a time traveling car which would go and time travel in any era, that is natural language. A human would speak. Like that's our human conversation. Computers don't speak like the way we do. Computers don't interact with each other the way we do, right? They interact in a different language. And this is the language they interact with, right? In the form of these kind of prompts, right? Very detailed and all that stuff. And we cannot become a genius in doing this stuff. Even the best of the best, what they like to call prompt engineers, they cannot come up with this stuff for every single idea. They might only do one or two different ideas, right? So how do we come up with this exact idea? So what we did is we created a feature where you just take that exact same prompt, right? Which is the natural language, like a time traveling car to transport its users to any era in history. You go in, right? Instead of sitting in a blank screen, which you would have done here, right? You could have sat on a blank screen here at any point. You go in to this nice little feature called the AI prompt extender. What this is going to do, okay? You click on this, you right click and you paste, okay? The same thing, or just type it in, doesn't matter. And you click on this one button, right? And while it's generating, I'll explain to you what it exactly does. Click on this button and it's gonna do its thing, a few seconds to generate this. Now, what it's doing behind the scenes is it's converting this natural language thing into a computer language result, okay? Natural language, which is our communication style language, it's transferring it over and changing it over into a computer understood language. Does that make sense? And so what that means effectively, it's going to give us the positive prompts. It's going to give us the negative prompts. And there we go. You see this right here? I have a time travel car, transports users, and then we have all this other stuff here, right? So all you have to do, like imagine if you go back into that original design, which I didn't like, right, which didn't kind of answer what I was trying to achieve, which was this one right here, like let's say this one or whatever it might be, this one, we created a thing where you can choose, okay, this right here, choose the style, you go to style, just say photorealistic, you just click on this redesign option, okay, and then you click on this one, and then automatically it's going to create something called step 2, customize your design. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. These are the positive prompts, right? There we go. Right click copy, and then positive prompts, right click paste, right? There we go. And then negative prompts, let's go back. This is the negative prompt it suggested me. Click copy, negative prompts, delete this old stuff that we put, the defaults, and then you click on redesign. Boom, done. Now what's going to happen effectively is that we communicate it to the computer in its own language, the way it understands it, right? And then your result will be infinitely better than a simple result that we were looking for, right? And the cool thing is, that was the result. While this one is processing, is going to be done in a few seconds. If you get this result, what you could do is you can just change the style. You want it to be in sticker style, just change the sticker, right? You want it in 3D, do that. You want it in watercolor, do it in watercolor. You want it robotic, do it in robotic, right? You want to put it in architecture style, so you want it behind a lot of buildings and all this other stuff, you can do that too. And then you just press that button and it's going to change it in that structure and that style. Like if I put sticker style and click redesign, right? Same image, right? You see this? Click redesign here. Okay, we have dimensions we added in recently, a couple of dimensions, we're adding more of them. Look at this one. This was my result just now. You see this one, the prompts that were generated? Look at this. So much better, right? Than what the other result was. Look at it. It's a futuristic city in the background. All this other stuff that is happening. You see, right? Makes your life easy now, right? You don't have to be some genius figuring out what you want. You just say, look, my client or my project, let's say I want an e-commerce product, let's say it's a cereal, or it's basically puppy food, right? Or it could be, let's say, for example, vitamins, or you're selling supplements or whatever it might be. You say it in your own natural language, right? A supplement that helps people have better memory, let's say, or whatever it might be. And then it will actually write it in the way the computer would understand it, right? Now here's the sticker, right? Same thing, sticker style, you see, much more cooler now, right? It has the whole clock around it. Look at that, right? So it creates it. This sticker style is, by the way, very useful in terms of basically when you're creating, let's say, for example, logos, right? Very, very useful for logos, this sticker style. You can just export this as a logo and then you can use this, right? Isn't that cool? Let me know in the chat box if that is cool, right? Is that cool? Just let me know in the chat box, right? Because this is the way we think about it, right? Make it easy to use. Don't put 100 features, say it's 101, and then not a single feature is usable, right? Because it's not easy to use, right? So that's the basic idea, okay? So that's the two things, right? Now, the question was like, do we need to open it in two windows to do this? Not necessarily, but makes your life easier. Like you could copy and paste this into Notepad or whatever if you want to, or even easier, which is what we did here. You see this right here. It says select style and then redesign. You can use this too. So this is easier, right? So they generated this, the prompts, right? You can just click on this right here. Let's say you want to do comic style or whatever, 2D, 3D, and then you click on redesign, and then it's basically going to generate that specific style. It goes to redesign stage, and then you can click on redesign again, and it'll automate the process of generation here. You can do that too. The reason why I wanted to show you the other way, which is a little bit slower, of copy pasting, is effectively that's what's happening behind the scenes when you just click on the redesign option in the bottom, and then it'll generate that result for you, right? So just understand this, okay? Does that make sense? Just understand that the true power of the application is not so much the features, which is okay, they're great, awesome, obviously, but the ease of use. Actually, you being able to create stuff. Like we've already had, I think, like last I checked, like from I think 100,000 images generated in our community designs. Like when you go to our community designs tab here, right? Like we've had record-breaking number of actual images. I didn't expect this many. I was thinking maybe it'll be like 10,000, something like that. Right now, close to 100,000 being generated at this point in time. 100,000. Like you click on this one right here, there's 100,000 such images being generated right now. And we also implemented this new feature, I think a couple of days ago, where you can search a design. So let's say you like a design style and you're looking for some inspiration from people who've done a really good job of something. You can search for it and then it'll give you some ideas. That's exactly the reason why what I wanted to do is basically wanted to give you the ability to get Artistly as a free trial there for limited time. It's closing tomorrow, right? And that could be just a few hours from now, depending on which time zone you're in. So make sure that you understand this is the reason why I want to do it, because I want it as big of a community design as possible, so then it gives you ideas on how to make things better, get the right results and stuff. Like if you wanted to do this design, right, it looks so awesome, right? Look at this, such a beautiful design. Somebody in the community generated a 3D cartoon, right? Now if you were to create it on your own, you'll not have the inspiration, right? But on the other hand, look at this, somebody created this, right, and they had a really good result happen. So this is basically, you can replicate this now either through redesign here, yes, but also through our search function there. You can search for something that you want to do, which is a girl, dressed in chef attire here, right? That was basically the search. If you did that search, you'll find this result, for example. You get my point? This is the reason why the community designs is so powerful. This is the reason why we will only make it better and better, and you can leverage the minds of thousands of users and make a better result every single time. And there's been research done, right? Like if you're using the brains of thousands of people, your brain also becomes infinitely smarter, right? Because you can have stuff that even you didn't never imagined. Now you can use your creativity to get that result, right? So that's the basic idea here. And that's what we spend a lot of time, energy, and stuff like that to do so. Now, is this live? Yes, it is live. I'm here, obviously, right? George, is it really live? Yes, I'm live. I'm live, George, obviously. Why would I not be live? I'm doing a live stream here, right? And you're live, anything can go wrong. So even me showing you the stuff to show how easy that is, that just goes to show how powerful the application is, right? Just think about it, right? Now, another question is basically this really, really good question, okay, is effectively the upscaling feature here, right? So if you select any design, right? So Artistly by default, okay, I just want to mention here, a lot of people don't understand this. It's by default here, right? It's actually generating 1024 pixels, right? This is like HD quality by default. Like as it is, you can generate it by default. There are a lot of applications out there which generate 512 pixel. You'll understand it when you zoom it in. You'll understand it's too small. The quality is not that good, right? This was the past, right? Almost 99% of all applications out there right now which do AI text to image generation, other than Midjourney, maybe other than a couple other ones, which are all recurring subscriptions, by the way, all of them generate in this result, okay? So then what happens is when you generate it, it's kind of unusable for many use cases, right? So then that's why we put the AI upscaler, where you choose a design, let's say, right? And you can upscale it to 2K, right? So most of these artistically generated images, they don't even need upscaling. That's the funny part, because right out of the gate, right, by default, they're pretty good, right? Or very good, I would say, not even pretty good, but very good. And it's only going to get better and better in time. Now, I kind of wanted to show you this also, this other example I wanted to give you, where, well, let me just show you this actually in personal design. The same thing I showed you earlier, right? Where we went in and we did a lot of different changes and stuff. But anyway, you see this one right here, right? This one was basically an artistic style. When I used basically our prompt, AI extender, prompt extender, right? Look at this result. This was a result that came in because it was a little bit more specific, because it spoke the AI language, right? This was basically a modern living room in a major city, right? And it generated this right here. You see this, right? So that's the other one. So we thought through all this stuff. That's the key point I wanted to mention here. We thought through all this stuff. So now I'm seeing some questions as well, so I'm going to answer them as we go along. But one other thing I want to mention here real quick is where you see how, like, every time I'm generating an image, it looks quite different, right? And this also happens with humans. Let's say, for example, I have, let's say, this person right here generated. And when I use the same prompt, I'm not going to get the same looking person, right? Especially with persons, right? And you want to use that person, let's say, for example, for YouTube thumbnails, or you want to use that person for, let's say, website designs. What we like to call this is something called a consistent character, okay? So this is something called consistent, okay, character, So what we have to do behind the scenes to make this work, and no other application in the market today, and there never will be, let me just say, there never will be an application in the market which is going to do what I'm about to tell you for a one-time payment. The reason why is the infrastructure cost for this is extremely expensive. So what we're doing is, once you get Artistly and you finish that 14-day trial, right, we're going to give you this feature, which I'm going to explain in detail right now once I go through all the other features as well, for those who join late, where no matter how many images you make, it's going to keep the same individual in all those images. Okay, what we do, the way this works is, this process is called fine tuned training. Okay, so what that effectively means is, when you want to use this person consistently across all images, you need to effectively fine tune the model in order to train on this person here and to tell Artistly or the AI, hey, look, use this person in these images, right? And this process takes a long time behind the scenes. We figured out, our machine learning engineers figured out a way to do it faster than any other application, but it requires those high-end GPUs, right? That's the reason why we want you to finish the 14-day trial in order to get this. And I'll show you some examples as we go along, because it's pretty awesome. We have to do some scaling work right now in order to basically make it work across lots of users. Like, it works fine for me and a few of our internal users, maybe a couple of dozen, but to make it work for all thousands of users, it has to basically have that infrastructure. So that's the other one. I'll show you how that works in real time and all that stuff in just a second. Okay, now I'll be announcing this. Okay, and okay, I'm seeing so many questions on this. This is live. It's 100% live. Of course, that's why I'm giving you the prizes. I'm awarding one more winner will be getting $100 just for being live here. Okay, by the way. Okay, and if you haven't already, I'm showing you all these cool things, but go to that link right there. You can see that artistly.ai/go. We are going to be closing down the free trial permanently. Okay, so what does that mean? That means effectively we're going to be, once we close down this live stream, it's effectively where tomorrow that free trial will be gone. Even if you beg, pleaded us, the buy button is not even going to have work, right, for that free trial. So you got to pay more money for it. Now, how is the pricing structured? So the free trial is basically 14 days. And then after that, you're going to be billed $69. Okay. And then 30 days later, okay, 30 days later, another payment, and this is the final payment of $69. Okay, the total comes to $138 for lifetime access. Okay, and this is only for now. Later on, we're planning on increasing this down to $297, and we're going to put some upsells as well in there, like that consistent character feature, which requires a lot of GPU resources. They have to pay an extra upsell to get that. They have to also, for example, we're going to also make sure that the upscaling feature, for example, we're going to limit them, right, on the upscale. So for example, if they want to do more than 2 or 3 a day, other people will have to pay extra. You don't have to, by the way, because you're getting in the early bird here, and as a customer appreciation thing that we're doing right now. So anything that we add in the roadmap that we get to finishing will be for you for free. Now, there's another sad trend, I would like to say, more than even bad, it's sad. What happens is, when somebody has Artistly or whatever application, they release in about 6 month version 2.0 and another 6 to 8 months version 3.0. And then they start charging you for this, right? Oh, you got the version 2.0, pay more money now for that. Okay, version 3.0, pay us more money, right? We don't want to do that. So no matter if you do version 2.0, version 3.0, or version even 4.0, they will be free for you. Okay, very important you understand that, no matter what cost it is. We have a full-time team working on Artistly. That means there are developers right now working full-time only on Artistly, no other project. What does that mean exactly? Well, when we have that roadmap of features and checklists and stuff that we have, the team will be focused on finishing them up and making it better and better with time, right? Now that's the beauty here, because I don't like what's happening in our space, and let me know if you agree with me, where somebody comes in and they'll say there's 1,000 different features in an application, but how do I generate the result I want? Well, I don't know. Go watch the tutorials. It's value. It's 1,000 features. It's value, right? No. How is it usable? right? And how can you actually get results? That's the reason why we even put this design to prompt feature, right? This design to prompt. I'll show you that one as well in just a second in detail. This design to prompt feature. But the point is that if you like any design that you saw, right? Like I had this one right here. Like I really like this image right here, right? This beautiful image of a penthouse or whatever. I want to recreate this image, right? So I uploaded that image, right? And then it gave me a bedroom with a view of the city lights and blah, 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 neo-romanticism. I don't know what that means, right? Same thing with this one right here, right? So you see this one right here, this one right here. I saw the same thing. I have no idea what she is. Is she an elf? Is she a hobbit? Is she a human? Right? I want to recreate this image. Well, I put that in, and it gave me this fantasy art, whatever, epic fantasy character art, or whatever it's quite like to be called. Right? So you can just upload any design, and it's going to give you that prompt. Isn't that cool? Right? And that's why we did all this stuff. So it's usable. Every single feature has actual use case. It's not something you just fill it up with like a bunch of stuff and confuse you more, right? When you log in, there's all this stuff, but where do you begin? I'm saying just so simple. Just start here and begin here. Or even if that's hard, go to community designs and just begin there, right? Like you like this one right here, use this, right? You can reuse this and you can begin this right here. You like the sticker right here, looks awesome, right? The sticker right here looks pretty cool. If you like this one, well, you can start off with this one. You can use the community designs, click on any of these and click on redesign and boom, you're good to go, right? This is basically where that simplicity of being able to create what you dream of is pretty much automated and pretty much given to you in a silver platter. Like this one is an architecture piece, right? Just a kitchen they posted, right? Pretty cool the result, right? For just a kitchen. But you want it even more modern. You want some add-ons. You can actually use this image to prompt as well for this to get the same thing recreated, right? There's another one, little master chef here, right? Same thing, right? Look at that. Look how beautiful high definition this photo is, right? And even if you see the background, right? In the backgrounds here, it's blurred background. So that means effectively that's what we like to call bokeh effect. I just learned about it yesterday when I saw a prompt on this. What that means is that it effectively makes the background blurred. That's done automatically by Artistly. Isn't that amazing? Powerful, right? So that's the other cool thing here, right? Now, I'm seeing some comments as well, right? Which is a good question. Can we have more styles? Are we already there? Will we have different styles of images? So this is the answer I was trying to explain to you. Now we have a bonus on this as well. I'll get to that in just a second. But basically what happens is, right, when you go to AI Image Designer, you see these styles here, right? We have about like 10 or whatever right now. I actually had our machine learning engineers, right, have 300 of these created, okay? Some good, some not that good, right? But has specific use cases, one for architecture, one for only interior design, blah, 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 right? You can suggest to us in our roadmap which ones you want added, and we're going to put that in here. We are not going to put all 300 simply because even if you put it in a drop down or we change the UI or whatever, like so, right? We change all this stuff. It's just too much, right? You know what I mean? So we're going to add them in, but based on what other people in the community request in the roadmap, we're going to it's not going to take us much time to add things in, maybe a couple of days or something. It's a question of like, what do people want? Right? And based on that, we'll give it. Okay. Now, if you have not gotten Artistly, let me know why you haven't gotten it. I'll be curious. You can get it for free trial right now before we close forever. This is the closing party, if you will, of Artistly, right? So before we close down, this is your last chance. Does that make sense? So just want to make sure that you are in and you're good to go with this. Okay. So, okay, this was Mark was saying neo-romanticism, which is what I was trying to, I have no clue, is when Neo from Matrix gets it on. That's not friendly, but anyway, basically the idea is that basically it's neo-romanticism is futuristic, right? You're gonna have designs like elements and stuff like that, right? Now, what is the roadmap for this product? Okay, so this is what I gave you the link on, right? It's a good question, by the way. So you can go to roadmap.artistly.ai and you're gonna see it. So the way it is I have some bonuses I'll share with you in detail in just a second. But the main point I want to mention here is that we want you to give us feedback on what you want as top priorities in that roadmap.artistly.ai page, right? So let's actually go there right now. So roadmap.artistly.ai. You go to that page, right? And this one right here, you see remove backgrounds from images and have the option to download them in PNG. That was the first requested thing. So we're going to focus on this, right? And on and on and on, right? So you get my point. So this is how we are looking at the roadmap of features. We already have a stuff that we are planning on working. That's part of the bonuses and stuff. But my key point is I want to first do stuff you want, right? It's not what I want because what I think is cool. What if only 100 people find it cool, but thousands of other people find something else more useful, right? So that's the basic idea. We're already completing a lot of these, so just make sure that when you're adding this in here, just you folks in your life, you can vote for what you want up. Okay, based on that, we will bump that up first. Okay, is that clear? And then we're going to see how to make it work. Now, some features are faster to generate, like say for example, personal designs allow for category folders to be done by users. This might be easier to do than say for example something else, right? Some other feature right there, right? You get my point. So the idea is that, like, say for example, this one right here is also pretty easy, right? Add line art as one of the models. Super easy for us to do because we already have that backend, two days max to do this. So they're different ones at different complexity. So we'll also take that into account when we're doing it, okay? And the plan is, as I said, there's a full-time team working on Artistly completely. So it's not like the team is going to jump into something else or whatever. The team is fully focused on this. And the reason why it is too, it's because what we want to do is we want to beat Midjourney, right? And that's all right. That's the vision, right? And so for us to do that, we got to be fully focused and committed to making it easy to use, fast to use, and of course also really, really powerful to use, right, at the end of the day. Okay, now Joseph, you're late. So folks like Joseph who are late, I'm gonna basically be doing a quick recap and some other features of Artistly and stuff like that. So if you haven't already gotten into Artistly, that's the link I'm gonna give you folks to try this out. This is the last chance, okay? That's why I'm doing this closing party. So you don't tell Paul, I tried, I missed out, you didn't give me reminders, it's closed. Well, I actually wanted to tell you I've given you enough reminders. If you miss out, it's done. Too late, okay? Just want to make sure you understand, okay? Now, another question, which is a good question, is how does this product integrate with other products like HumanPal and HumanTalk, okay? So in the case of HumanPal, you can use these images that are generated with Artistly as images or content. Instead of royalty-free stock footage, you can use this because it gives you more flexibility, right? Like you're creating a video on time machine cars or whatever. It's more, you're not going to have time machine cars as stock footage generally, right? So this is more unique content or even whatever you desire, right? And in the case of other things that we are working on, and it'll be something that I'm going to talk about in our training sessions as well coming up, is, for example, this one right here perfectly aligns with our Sketch Genius application, right? Where with Sketch Genius, you can convert any of these images into a sketch video, right? Like a sketch drawing. You just upload these images and it'll draw that. So you can create a doodle sketch video just from a photo, right? So it integrates with that as well, for example, right? So let me give you an example of that so you folks can understand it in more detail. But, like if in our Sketch Genius application, right, you have all those templates and all the other stuff, right? So let me actually share my screen here real quick. So this is basically where, you have these photo to sketch generation app, right? Most of you folks already have Sketch Genius. So what it does is it takes a sketch, like a photo like this, and it creates it into a sketch like this, right? So that application, sketchgenius.com, well, this will work really well with that. That's the reason why, a lot of Sketch Genius customers of ours who purchased it in the past, they're loving Artistly because, man, this is a new avenue, right? Create the images in Artistly and convert them into videos now, right? With Sketch Genius. You take this kind of an image, you upload it into Sketch Genius, and you create sketch videos or a charcoal video like this one, right? You see this? It creates a charcoal style sketch video just from a photo. So all the photos from Artistly can be converted into a sketch video like this with Sketch Genius, right? And you get it perfectly integrated. So this is the type of integrations we're talking about. There'll be more tutorials coming in for different applications of ours and stuff like that, and how they all integrate together. And I just want to be very clear so you understand, we never create an application that is kind of similar to the another one. So all of them will integrate together. So meaning Artistly will never do something that another application of ours already did, right? Even if it has newer technology or whatever, it doesn't matter. It'll always be like, okay, I have this technology from Paul in the past. I'm going to be able to integrate these technologies together. You get my point, right? Like you want to do pencil sketch video like this from a photo that Artistly generated. You can do that with Sketch Genius, right? So you get my point, right? So you can do videos like this one just from, and you can do longer length videos too, by the way, depending on how many images you want to put in here and all that, right? You can do chalkboard drawing like this from a photo, stuff like that, right? Blueprint style like this, custom sketch with whatever you want, like this one based on a photo you upload. and you can do that. So that's the other great stuff, right? You see my point. It's just gonna be much better for you to create videos now with all these designs that are being created, and you can create a story, right, for whatever project or use case you want, right? That's the other thing that we are working on. Okay. Now the other one as well that I wanted to also mention here real quick is which I wanted to mention real quick is just understand, okay, that when, see, I'm seeing some questions, so post your questions, I'll be answering them as we go along. So Joseph just went in. Thank you so much, Joseph, for getting in. Another question I'm seeing here is basically, is it a better way to edit a prompt to modify a style, or just create the style itself? Okay, I see what your question you're asking, okay? The question you're saying is, like, if I go in here and I like this image or whatever, doesn't matter, will changing this style here, these select styles, will that be a better, will that give me a better result? Or the other question is, effectively, do I change the prompt itself? So let's discuss that in greater detail here, okay? So let's say we take whatever, let's say we want a watercolor style, right? Whatever, doesn't matter. So here you're asking, can I, if I change stuff here, will my result be more what I want to do as opposed to this style? So the better way to answer this question is think of it like this, right? If you want your result to be watercolor style, always make sure that it is picked in this style. That will force the result to always be watercolor. However, if you want something like, let's say instead of time travel car, you want time travel bus, for example, right? So in that case, you want to basically change this car into, let's say, a bus. Okay, does that make sense? And make sure that any other place where it says car, you change that into a bus, right? So bus here, there's another bus here, for example. Let's scroll down here. Is there any other car here? No, right? So then now you just do that. You change it from a car to a bus. Now it's going to generate that as a bus. You get my point, right? So now you click redesign. What's going to happen? It's going to take us a few seconds to generate. But the idea is that it's going to create that bus in watercolor style. I think I picked watercolor if I'm correct, right? So it's going to generate that in watercolor style. So the point is style, if you want it in that, you always want to pick that. But if you want any element within it to be effectively a specific thing that you wanted, you'd want to do that. Look at that. This is watercolor. You see the style? So it'll always pick watercolor, and it's going to make that time travel bus here. You see this is a time travel bus style, and it's a watercolor style. You see? Now you could upload it in Sketch Genius or whatever and create a video out of it. You can do all kinds of cool things here, right? But the point I'm trying to make is this will allow you to think about it in a more practical sense, right? So hope that is giving you ideas here, okay? Now, another question is, right, yeah, that's a good point. You can test the different results and change it easily? Of course, 100%, right? Another question was, which is a really, really, with another point I wanted to make here, is that can we retain the image but alter the position and flip the image? This is what that consistent character or whatever we're trying to talk about. So we are first going to release this for humans because that's the most biggest use case. We're just going to keep that throughout, right? So if you want to keep this bus throughout, the style of this or this car throughout, that's the bonus I was trying to tell you, right? It's going to start off with humans. Then we're going to see if we can do it with other as well. Because what happens with humans, it's much more noticeable, right? Like you have this person right here, even if it's slightly off, right? Like if his nose is a little bit off or his beard is a little bit off, then it won't look that good, right? So that's the basic idea. All right, now, so let me announce the second $100 winner right now, okay? And then I'm going to do a quick demo and answer some questions because questions like this one right here, I'll answer them, right, in the chat, in that training where I'm going to jump into my computer and show you a step-by-step here. Now, this is another question. What tools are being replaced by? This is another one I'm going to answer, right, when I do that, right? And another point, which was is a really good question as well. Any option in future to create artistic QR codes? I'm going to answer this question as well as we go along. So stuff like this, I'm going to jump in and basically go in and effectively specify how you can use it in different use cases. But I'm going to give you 30 seconds to post so I can pick that other $100 winner randomly just from the chat, okay? And it's going to be a lot of fun, by the way. It's going to be exciting. All right, so let's see here. All right. Let's see here. All right. This is another question Brian was asking while you're posting. Can you clear coloring book pages? Yes. So how we did it, this was a result. Let me pull this up here. This one right here. These are coloring book examples, right? So yeah, I put prompt coloring pages for adults, pug, fine lines, low detail. You'll actually even see in the search, right? So if you searched in the search box in the community designs for coloring pages, you'll see that. Yeah, you can definitely do that. You see I have a lion here, and stuff like that. Okay, so pretty cool, right? It's another one for coloring pages and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely can use it. These are all the line art style and coloring pages style stuff. This is two birds here, you see. So we have a lot of them like this in our community designs. You can search called line art or coloring pages and you'll see a ton of them. Okay. All right, so now let's pick our $100 winner. My team is just doing that for me right now. Let's see, super exciting. And again, by the way, this is all random just for attending because you're live. You took the time to be here, right? So I want to basically, reward you here. Okay. Now, and we can do that. Okay. Now, the other point that I'm going to mention is some of the questions that are coming in. I'll talk about those as well as we go along. All right. All right. So let's see here. My team is just sending the winner over to me. All right. So the congrats to our next $100 winner. It is John Fairest. Congrats to you, John. You are our next $100 winner. Okay, so now just so folks know, I'll be posting the list of winners as well in our Facebook group as well. So let me write down your name here, John, so I don't forget, and my team will get in touch with you. Okay, John. So John and the last name. Okay, cool, perfect. I'm just writing down here. Congrats to you folks. Congrats to you, John. So it's another awesome winner. But the idea is once you get the access to the application, the free trial, obviously you're all winners, right? Effectively, right? And I have some bonuses though for every single person who gets Artistly today before we close down the free trial. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be covering right now as well. Now I know I'm seeing a couple of people mention this to me as well. Is the screen right now is basically not perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the screen much better for you folks here. Just give me 1 second here, and then I will make that a little bit better so you can see it in full screen and stuff like that. And then you'll see it better. Okay. Okay. Excellent. All right, so let me share, I go to my screen and do that. But let me answer a couple of the questions while I do that, because then I might already be covering. But in case I don't do that, because some of you folks came late and you missed out on some exciting stuff I shared earlier on the webinar, right? Okay, so, all right, excellent. All right, all right. Beers are on John this weekend. Yeah, John, you better buy us all beers, right? Probably he'll go broke buying it by the end, right? Now, another points is effectively is, we will be integrating with other applications. That's been another question that's coming in. So I'll be either we're going to have a direct integration, or I'm going to do tutorials specifically on how to integrate different apps, like let's say Human Pal or Sketch Genius, and this what I mentioned, all these other applications of ours, right? And they'll all work hand in hand. As I mentioned before, there'll never be any redundancy in any of our applications where one application will do exactly what the other one does, right? We could make more money doing it, but it hurts the people who purchased some other product in the past from us, right? That's why we make sure that we always have that use case of you being able to, be able to do that. All right, now another a question that came in was, can we get 2 or 3 options to select from? So again, this is for you. Put it in the roadmap. Okay, see this right here? I'll put the roadmap link up for you so you can see it. So all these feature requests, put that up in the roadmap. If enough people want it, that's going to be prioritized. Not meaning that we're not going to get there, but it's going to be prioritized if enough people. And also check it if it's already probably is somebody already right. So just wanted to mention that as. All right, so real quick, for those who couldn't hear me or whatever, real quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump in. So sometimes what happens is my face is on, it kind of slows things down a little bit as well for you folks to see it as well, right? So I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna do a quick overview of some of the features here because I didn't get to do that properly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an overview of how the AI background design will work, how the AI upscaler will work, how AI stylizer will work, and some of the bonuses that we have, like the consistent character one. We have another one called face switcher and stuff like that. Okay, so let me actually do that right now while I'm here. Now, again, just a quick point I wanted to make here. Understand that every single feature here is available. No need for you to buy any upsells, no downsells, none of that mumbo jumbo stuff. No need for you to buy any add-ons separately. All the stuff I'm explaining is free. Okay, included as a part of the Artistly, right? Whether it's trial or whatever the case might be, doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's why go there right now if you haven't heard artistly.ai/go. Now, if you join us a little bit late, I'll do a quick overview for all the features that are out here. I'm going to zoom in the screen as well so you can see things a little bit quicker because with my face on, you're losing 30-40% of the screen. So I'll do that. And I'll also be answering all your questions as well as we go along. Okay, so if you have any, and if I don't answer it, it's probably the training will cover what I'm going to be doing when I'm doing the demo. I'm already going to answer that question anyways, right? So I just want to make sure that you understand that, okay? So, all right, so question was confused how to order it, maybe due to my dyslexia. Okay, it's pretty straightforward, okay? You go to the link that I gave you, okay, Olivia. So you go to basically artistly.ai/go, okay? You're gonna go in like so. Then you're gonna see a button when you go in here called Get Instant Access to Artistly in the bottom, right? Like so. You click on that and it's going to scroll you down to this little page, and then it's going to ask you to use this other button here, and then you're going to click on this other button, and then here's where you would basically get in. Now, as I mentioned before, here it's going to tell you get Artistly, try it for free for 14 days. Once the trial ends, it'll be 2 payments, $69. And as I mentioned before, the first payment will be $69 after that 14-day trial is done. So in day number 15, okay, it's going to basically be $69. And in day number 45, from 45 days from today, if you got in today, day 45 is going to be another payment of $69. Okay, that's a total of $138, and that's it. After that, no more payments, no more billings, no more mumbo jumbo stuff, no upsells to buy, no downsells to buy, no upgrades or like special things to do. All the updates we make, updates is very important. Sometimes people get confused. Updates are free, okay, but no upsells. Okay, some people like to call them upgrades, but no upsells, nothing extra to buy. You buy in, you log in, right? You just fill up this page here. You use PayPal, you use credit cards, you use Google Pay, whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter. Apple Pay as well if you're on a Mac or an iPhone or whatever, and you don't need to buy anything extra. Okay, is that clear? Hope that is answering your question there, Olivia. Okay, does that answer that? When you do that and you click complete purchase, you're gonna get the login details and you can log. No need for you to buy any extra, go through like 4 or 5 pages worth of additional stuff to buy. Everything is clear cut. Okay, is that clear? Hope that answered your question. All right, now the other point is, okay, which I wanted to answer here as well, is when is the training coming up? Okay, so we have the next training session coming up in a day or two. You'll see the reminders, and we're also doing one next week, and they'll all be in our Facebook group. Okay, in our Facebook group, they'll all be there live in our Facebook group, so you can join in and be there. All right, so let me jump into my computer right now and answer some of the questions you folks were asking, which was the features, right, of Artistly. How do each of these features work and stuff like that. So let me actually do that right now so that you can see it much easier. Let's do it real quickly here, and I'm going to show you use cases here today. Okay, we're going to be talking about, let's say for example, e-commerce. What's the use case there? We're going to be talking about, say for example, graphic design. What's the use case there, for example, for clients or for Facebook ads or for anything you desire, right? And we're going to go in depth on these topics because what you have to understand is that this is the future, whether you like it or not, right? So now how simply you want to make it easy for you to use, that's what's going to separate you from everybody else. That's why we built Artistly. Now, Artistly has been in works for over almost 10 months plus now, and we could have released it almost 7 months ago, actually, okay? There's a reason why we didn't release it, and I held on, right? And there is a reason why we did that. It's because when AI image generation came in, right, in the early days, what happened was you had these disjointed hands and you had people having 2 heads and like blurry eyes and all this other stuff, right? So what these AI applications were doing, and we'll get to that in just a second, but they would have an image that is yay big, like junk, and then they would upscale this image, right? Like they would increase the size of the image, right? And by doing so, this little image, like I'll just put a play button here, would basically get enlarged, and because of it getting enlarged, it will lose its quality, right? That's why you would see blurry eyes and all this other stuff. So we waited a long time. Instead of going in the angle of like, okay, instead of extending an image, why don't we just build the image from the beginning like so, right? And in order to do that, you need 2 things to work in your favor, okay? One is basically the technology and the models that you're fine tuning for, which I'll explain that process in just a bit, have to be high quality by default. Okay, so that means they have to be, let's say we are talking HD, right? They have to be HD by default. Okay, that means right out of the box they're HD. So there's no need for you to extend it, upscale it, or whatever, right? Not needed. And then the second thing is, in order to do this, now what happens, right? Let's say, for example, here you had an image that is lower quality, and here you have higher quality. You need 400% stronger servers, okay? Capacity of the server, right? And basically it was not, you were not capable to do this until NVIDIA released, like just about a few months ago, there was something called the H100 GPU. Okay, these are the most expensive GPUs in the market. They're more expensive than some cars right now, and that made this whole thing possible. And we integrated that technology. I'm going to show you some stuff there as well as we go along. But the point I'm trying to make is you need both the infrastructure and you need the software, both to help out, right? The hardware and the software, right? Those both came in line for Artistly to work where it works the way it is. Okay, hope that is making sense, because it's important you understand that, right? Otherwise, it's kind of like I'm just talking about it, but it means nothing, right? Now, here's where the beauty here is, right? Every single aspect you see within the application here, whether it's photorealistic, 2D, 3D, they're all separate, what we like to call AI models, okay? That means we train it across many different 3D models and stuff like that. So in this particular case, I want to create a 3D model image here, as you can see. Now, this is basically, as you can see, the generated image. You can preview it, you can download it. But the key point is, in just maybe, if you see here, there's a lot of detailing here, but you can also edit it for the prompt where you can change that sphere if you want to change it, that axe you want to remove, you can do that. You can do some other cool things with smart prompting, right? But what I wanted to kind of show you here is, you see how this image is generated here, and we've had the positive prompts and negative prompts. For those who are not familiar with it, a positive prompt is basically where, if you think about it, it is a prompt where, for example, you have a specific prompt where you want the image to look like this, and a negative prompt is I do not want to have this photo to have this. Okay, it's almost like addition and elimination, right? A positive prompt is I want this stuff in the photo, and a negative prompt is I do not want this stuff in the photo. So if you have it, remove it, kind of thing. Okay, you're telling the AI to basically make that decision here, right? Now, this is what I was trying to tell you. You see these dimensions here. This is full HD quality dimensions, right? Right out of the box. Now you can upscale it a little bit more, of course, and you can make it even higher quality. But the point being that it comes out of the box, right? Before you had to get these were about 256 pixels. I know because we did research on it many months ago. And a lot of customers like yourself requested us to give this technology or build this technology, and I held on. We could have made a lot more money doing it, saying, "Oh, so-called first to market," but it's unusable. What's the point, right? And you've probably seen all that, right? Anyway, 256 pixels. Right, this is what used to be done, and you had to upscale it 4x, right? 4x in order to basically get it to this dimension. So this was the issue in the past, okay? And this made things impossible for you to make use of when it came down to generating results that are actually presentable, right? Especially if you want to create an image that you're going to photo, you're going to use on a website, or you want to use it for social media, you want to use it for a Facebook ad or a Pinterest ad or whatever, right? A YouTube thumbnail, right? Whatever the use case might be, if you had to use those low quality images to upscale it, it's useless. But these are coming right out of the box at a very high quality. Okay, does that make sense? Hope I'm being very clear here so you understand this. Okay, very big distinction. Sounds simple, but very difficult to achieve behind the scenes. All right, now I'll be answering some questions as well you have along the way, and some updates we made since yesterday alone. Okay, it's super awesome. Since yesterday we made some updates. That's so cool. All right, anyway, check this out. So photorealistic, these things, you can change the actual styling of it. Let's say in this particular case, you see that right here. When we do that, there's a sticker image right here. As you can see here, that's the result of the sticker style. So you see that, right? Now, just do it like just changing that little element, this particular, if you will, a Greek god or whatever it might be, is basically now in a sticker format. Now, why did we do this? That's an important thing I want you to explain to you, okay? We did this because a sticker is what you could utilize for print on demand. You can utilize a sticker for logos as well, okay? I'll talk about that, what our community is creating by and large. And also basically here, the sticker will also be useful for anything where you want to use it for example, for purposes of vector diagrams and stuff like that. Okay, so that means effectively just with this one option, we have an entire ecosystem that we built in behind the scenes that is very usable for your different projects and stuff like that. I'll show you some other examples as well, by the way, in just a second. All right, I just want to show you behind the scenes how things work here. Now let's just look at another example completely from scratch here. Okay, now when you see this prompt here, right, you see cinematic photo of a woman sitting in a cafe, 35 millimeter photograph, right? You see how I wrote this stuff? This is where a lot of people get confused. What is a bokeh? So if you're not familiar with photography, I didn't even know this until a couple of days ago. Bokeh is basically where you blur the background, right? So the foreground comes in, and then this is like your iPhone's portrait shot, right? And I didn't know this. So even most people don't know this. So for us to write this detailed prompt is very difficult, not easy, right? Because we have to know every single industry. So we created two features. One is designed to prompt. I'll show you an example of that, where you can upload any photo and it's going to give you the possible prompt you can use to recreate a similar photo like that. Same quality, same description. If it has a gray background, this image will have a gray background. If it's on the beach, this will have a beach. If that has, for example, a background blur, this is going to have a background blur. You understand, right? Now, the other one we did is the AI prompt extender. So what I could do is if I said cinematic photo of a woman sitting in a cafe, for example, it will write the other description. That's what I did to do this detailed prompt. Okay. So remember I told you about usability, right? You just write in this little part right here, right? I want a cinematic photo of a woman sitting in a cafe. This AI prompt extender is going to do all this other stuff for you. Similarly, the design to prompt does the same thing. You can upload any photo and it'll give you that result, right? Very important, very usable, but you see my point, right? It is about basically getting you to create stuff very easily. Now check this one out, right? So 2D and 3D animated, right? So here, let me try this one out. So look, first of all, let's talk about this image, right? I mean, look how detailed it is, how beautiful it looks. I haven't even really upscaled it or done anything to it. And now if I want to change this into, let's say, for example, a 2D or a 3D style, I can do that as well with just selecting the style. It completely keeps the elements of that image, but changes it into a 2D or 3D character. Okay, watch this right here. What's happening here, right? And check this one out. Pretty cool. Okay, now when I do that, again, I'm going to show you what's happening behind the scenes when you do that. Okay, and this is automatic, by the way. But behind the scenes, it's changing some elements behind the scenes and preloading this 2D, 3D style, and it's creating this result. You see this right here? This result like this, pretty cool, right? Like, so this is a result where it's completely a unique design. It almost looks like it comes from almost a, if you will, a movie, right? A 3D animated movie or something, right? Now, if you wanted to convert her into a sticker style, you could do that too, just by one click, okay? Now, there's some other cool things we can do. I'm going to get to those in just a bit, but just with a couple of clicks, right? Nothing really fancy here, nothing really complicated here. Just doing it with just a couple of clicks here, right? So check this out right here. Now you just click on that redesign button here, and then automatically it will change it into this style. Again, you see that how it changed it, but kept the same thing about that woman having coffee. So the point is that different styles have different use cases. And let's say you wanted a comic style, so this will be more like a comic book cover, magazine kind of style, right? So this is how it does it, right? Now, the thing is, the beauty of this is that you can even, right, for example, take these images which have a proper foreground, like this one here is a nice little rabbit doctor here we have. You can remove the background and replace the background as well, right, on these images as well. So the point being that on the first stage, we could create the images, we can change the styles, and we could add new styles in. I'll talk about that as we go along. So I talked about sticker, 2D, 3D. We have 300 of these created, okay, just for reference before I get to the AI background designer. So for this one right here, we have 300 categories that we created, but we didn't add all of them in because I want to see your customer feedback. So once you give us your feedback, what are you looking for? What are the different use cases you want to do? Say print on demand is one use case, or you want to create a comic book, let's say. These are the styles we'll add in. It's not that difficult for us to add. It's a question of we don't want to give you 300 choices and confuse you, right? So that's the other thing I want to mention here real quick. Now, when you get an image, especially, we've seen these, right? Background removal tools. We've done background removal stuff before as well. Nothing really new about it. What's new here is that you can change the dynamic of the background for the images that you upload, right? So specifically one with the personal designs that you've created, right? So this is how the background removal part works, just so you understand, so you can see it. Now, When you hit it, you see this right here. It put this little rabbit doctor in a jungle or in nature, right? And then if I make it go into a desert, okay, with sunny, or in a sunny day or something like that, then basically it will change the whole thing to a desert. So very powerful because it keeps that tonality of what you're telling it to do. So in other words, you're generating the background, right? Now, what is the use case for it? Sounds cool with a rabbit. What's the use case? So I'll explain to you, okay? And I'll show you a practical example of what we're using it for right now, okay? So then you get some ideas on how to go about this and stuff like that, all right? Is that cool? All right. So in a practical example, I wanted to show you this is basically I generated a shoe, right? So this was a shoe that I generated here, a modern brown designer shoe, right? So let's actually open this up so you can see it. Look at the quality of the design here, right? So beautiful, right? So this is basically a shoe. Let's assume this is an e-commerce product or whatever it might be. So I can put this where I can change the background. Of course, this one doesn't make any sense. This jungle one I showed you just now doesn't make any sense, right? But check this out. What I did, I put it in a shoe store. See this? I said for the background, shoe store with a blurred background, and bouquet is basically a blurred background, right? So I did this, and then boom, check this one out. Now it makes a lot more sense, right? You could run this as a Facebook ad, image ad, you could put it as a social media post. You can do a lot of cool things with it. It actually captivates attention, right? You see what I'm saying? So this is a real use case for an e-commerce product that you could do this with. Now, I'll show you one which I just had fun with, but because there's a lot of fun using this application. But anyway, you see this one right here. So I put a background, this was the prompt, put it in a shoebox, right? And of course, every time it generates something, it makes it unique. But you see this, right? You know, it already thought about it like a gift box and stuff. You know, you could tweak a little bit and you can put it in a shoebox. But what I'm trying to explain is this is the use case that you can utilize, right? Every time you generate something, it becomes better and better. And here's the nifty little trick. You see, if I put a bracket shoebox around it, I'll show you that in just a second, right? So if I put brackets around it, right, it will force that shoebox to appear more, right? So if I put two brackets around that shoebox, you know how the shoebox was not fully utilized here properly? It will make sure the shoebox is the main prime, if you will, focus point here, okay? So it will show up a lot more detailed, okay? Now, that's the use case. You understand what I'm saying, right? For e-commerce areas and stuff like that. And similarly, the other benefit is it will work for different styles of shoes as well, right? You can play around with it, and just with one click you can do it. And beautiful, right? Because what happens is in bland images on Amazon and stuff you see on product listings and stuff, not cool. Here you see this. We could do these things like this with that background so that we can add to, right? Which makes it a lot more exciting, a lot more cool to play around with for e-commerce and other use cases, right? All right, now let's get to the other part because I'm going to link all of these things together for you, okay? Because it's not just about, okay, it's so cool, it's fun to use. It's all obviously there. I love doing this stuff, but I actually want to actually show you stuff that is actually where there's a real use case for it, right? Now, there's also another tool that is included here called the AI Upscaler, okay? So this actually works really well for that older blurry images stuff that were created back in the day with this AI tools, but ours here, you can even add the ones created with your with this personal design, and what it will do is it'll upscale it to a much higher definition here, right? So let's just do this right here. It's going to add more detail to those images, especially the ones you created within the application, because you see sometimes for some use cases you might need more of an upscaled look, right? So this is going to create that upscaled image for you. Now, here's the thing though, this is what makes it so powerful, okay? So when you upscale a design, right, you can also now use it for logos and stuff like that. Now that image was a little bit lesser in detail. Let me show you this right here. Look at the dragon here, right? Look how the detail here. All right, I didn't even full screen it yet. You can see the eyes, you can see the red color eyes and all that kind of stuff, right? Let me actually show you this so you understand in real terms how powerful and how much of an impact it makes, right? And the thing is, right, a lot of times people make the mistake where they don't understand that the little detailing makes a huge difference in the end, right? Little detailing. It sounds not so much in the beginning, but like when you add detailing, it makes huge difference if you think about it, right? So let me show you this right here. So this is the same dragon here. Okay, let me see it for those who couldn't see it earlier. See this? I can zoom in so much and look at it. I can see the castle here and all that, right? And I didn't even save this. It's just on my browser so far, right? So it's pretty cool, right? So you can do the eyes here. You can check how detailed the eyes are, and all that, right? So this is what we mean by upscaling. Now, the beauty here is that throughout the process, right, some images might not even need upscaling, but some will do really well with it. Now, I understand. One of the things that we noticed some of our users doing, okay, and when we were noticing in our community was they were putting up some black and white photo and trying to make it better and that sort of thing. So what we're going to be doing is we actually have this. Remember I said we had 300 different features that we didn't add it in based on your feedback. So what we're going to do is in that case, let's say you upload a blurry image, right? Like let me just pick some random image and assume it is blurry for you. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's say this lady right here, right? This is a blurry image, let's assume, right? Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put, and this is gonna be done in the next a day or two because we already have it, just have to enable it and test it a couple of times. We're gonna put a checkbox to say something like improve, okay, facial features. Okay, so this is where you can upload like a black and white photo from the 1960s or something, or whatever, and it's going to improve this. Okay, we have the algorithm already set up. We just didn't know that people were using it here compared to another area in the application which you could use it for, but it makes sense, right? So we're going to include this feature. And so what that's going to do is, let's assume this was like an old 1940, 1950 image. It's going to make it much more upscaled and better quality. It's going to improve that image and stuff like that. So this would be an example of that. You see what I'm saying? So it'll be like this. So this would be an example, right? So you have a blurry image, you'll do this. So if you check that box, that algorithm is going to run and do something like this, okay? So that is the basic idea because we didn't know so many users are going to use it for different purposes, right? So we basically are going to implement that in the next day or two. That's what's exciting about creating applications where you have all these technologies. You don't know who will use it for what purpose, and then we can just enable that in, right? Anyway, so that's the idea for that upscaling. Okay, so there's two ways of upscaling, right? One would be a person. So for in the case of a person, you have to do their eyes, their lips, their teeth, all these other stuff. In the case of, let's say, for example, like what you see here, where it's a dinosaur or whatever, you don't need facial feature improvements, right? Completely different setup, right? Two different use cases. That's why we can do a little checkbox to treat it where, okay, if it's a human, you're adding, anytime it's a human or a person or people, right? Multiple people in a photo, then we'll improve that kind of thing, okay? Now, the next one, and this is also a little fun one that you can utilize, is basically the AI stylizer feature. Again, I'll show you the different use cases for this one as well. So this one is AI stylizer. You see this van here, you can just stylize the image, just basically saying like, look, I want to add snow in, and it'll add snow in for this image like you see here, right? Near the tires, here in the sky and in the clouds and all that kind of stuff, right? It changes the entire dynamic of an image just by you typing in what you want to do, what style you want to change or whatever you want to do, right? So you see that right here, right? So you see this right here. So you see summer beautiful weather vibes or whatever, and you click generate here. Now this is another styling, so I want it more like a summer style look. To look at it, maybe fun and interesting and stuff like that. Now you could add rain and clouds to this. Like, so if I say add rain and clouds, it would change the dynamic of that image and add some clouds in there and stuff like that. So you can play around with it. It'll change the stylistic output of that image completely, right? Like what you see here right now. Now, this sounds good on a minivan or whatever here, but what's the real use case here? So the real use case for these is twofold, okay? So sometimes, right, right? This is one of the images that we generate in the application. I just want to open this one here. This is fall right now, right? So a lot of red leaves and all this other, right? As you can, so fall image was generated. Now, what if you want to stylistically change it? You want to add snow to this, for example, make it more like comic book style or whatever, right? Just by generating the actual image, you can go in and stylizer would change it. I want to show you some examples of what I did here, okay? There's so many you can show you, but let me show you some of them here, okay? So this one right here, same image. I changed it slightly here, as you can see here. This more like a cartoon artistic style, so that cartoon style. Now, if you go back here, I did it more like a pixel style here. This one is a little bit different style here. You see this? Did it a little bit more different, right? Every generation is unique, right? and it makes it a little bit different here. So that means effectively with that one image that was generated, we could create stylistically different images. This is another one here, you see. Again, all of them are full HD quality. You see, this is another one, and on, right? So we can basically, it's another one that we created here. So basically, you see the point I'm trying to make, right? So you can stylistically change an image without, really doing any prompting or like a lot of these techie mumbo jumbo stuff, starting off with that one image. Now, the other cool thing is this is just the stylistic changes. I even went further, like you see these examples here, where I went in and I added snow, for example, here. You see this same image styling, right? It will not be the exact same house, but it'll be very, very similar. And then stylistically, it's going to add in snow and other factors in here as well. Like if I open this up and I'll zoom it in, you'll see what I'm talking about here. You see the hedges and here you see the hedges have snow here, as you can see. The window sills have snow here. You get my point, right? So it basically goes that detailed, right? When we wanted to do that stylistic changes. Same concept, right? Again, I did the same here. You'll see the points I'm talking about. If you want to just add basic snowfall, you can do that too. You see this right here? This is how a basic snowfall is right here. That's what makes it so fun. You see? Very different, right? One is heavy snow, where the snow was all on the ground here. One is just a little bit of snow here, right? While keeping that, that fall leaves intact, right? So this is what the stylizer does. It allows you to stylize an image with simple text instructions for it, and you tell it to basically modify itself based upon that, right? Now, the main cool thing though, and I'm going to get back to it. Okay, this sounds good for a house or whatever. What about people? I have exactly that for you. I'll talk about that as we go along, okay? How we could stylistically do that if it is your own photo or something like that as well. Would that be possible? We'll get to that in a bit because I didn't even share that in the previous webinar. I had so many people ask that question. So I'll be announcing that as well today, how we could go about doing it, okay? But I just want to first of all show you all the features, then I'll show you some of the cool things we're adding into the application so that all of them will come back in a big way, in a strong way for you, and it'll make your life much more easier in order to basically use this application, right? So far, pretty exciting, right? Are you excited so far? Let me know, right? Pretty exciting stuff so far, right? Because you see how easy things are. See, that's the thing. It's not about how many features you have. It's about like how easy it is, right? And how quickly you can generate the stuff, right? Now, I want to talk about the AI photo to prompt one, right? And well, before we get to that, okay, just a quick point. Are you excited right now? Let me know in the chat box. Let me know in the chat box. See, I'm seeing your comments here. I'm seeing Ned saying awesome, awesome here. Cristiano is saying awesome, great. Miguel is saying great, right? Now, this is what I'm trying to explain to you, okay? When you're excited about these features, let me know in the chat box what's exciting you. I want to know because I'm doing this live. I'm going all the way. We've been going on for a bit now. So if you haven't already gotten it, okay, just a quick point. For those who haven't gotten Artistly yet, go to artistly.ai/go. That's a special link only here. We're going to be closing this free trial, the 14-day free trial, completely permanently, okay? And once it's gone, it's gone. I mean, when you got to buy all the add-ons separately and all that. It's going to cost you double the amount of money. You can have all kinds of credits and add-ons and everything. It probably will cost you several hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get in, but you can get in as a founding member right now. And again, as I said, our goal is not even to make a profit off of this one because infrastructure costs and stuff are really, really expensive. We want to give back to our best customers like yourself for being here, sticking with us here, okay? Just want to make sure you understand before we get to all the other cool stuff that I want to mention, the bonuses. One other question was coming in. I'll get to that because I want to show you all the features here is about the consistent character feature and some other cool things. I'll get to that one as well as we go along. All right. Again, some people are saying they're complaining about the speed, the bandwidth here. Sometimes what happens is when I put myself on the screen, it kind of slows things down for some people with slower internet connections. So let me walk you through again. Again, exciting, right? So far, because this is just the start. This is like the tip of the iceberg. I'll walk you through some of the other cool features here. Gonna blow you away, especially with the bonuses and stuff that I have for you. I wanna show you here. Okay. So I hope that's giving you some ideas, especially those who join in late. This is going to be an awesome recap for you folks to understand different features in the application as well. Okay, pretty cool. Okay, thank you so much for all the comments so far, by the way. All right, and so on and so forth. The key thing we focused on with Artistly, okay, we didn't want to complicate with thousands of features. It's about simplicity, making the features that matter easy to use. And that's the big point. Do you see yourself, all the stuff that I shared with you just so far, do you see yourself being able to use it? Just let me know that in the chat box. That is success for me, right? If you see something and you're like, oh man, that's so difficult. I just cannot see myself doing it, then effectively you're never going to use the application. You might have 10,000 features in it, 10,000 different things in it, but you're never going to use it. It's just a fact. I mean, you can look at your purchase history of stuff you purchased from other gurus or other folks out there. I mean, how many of them are you using? Well, you might not be using many because at the end of the day, it's too difficult to use. And more importantly, they've stacked it with so much confusion that you'll never use it. If you never use it, it could be the greatest thing in the planet, but what's the point, right? You're never going to get results with it, right? And that's what I'm seeing a lot of people. Yes, yeah, absolutely, right? And that's the basic idea here. Okay, let's jump into this. I have so much other cool things here. This is one I want to kind of explain to you. So one of the biggest issues, right, people have is, look, I saw a beautiful photo, like even this one that I saw here, right? Like this photo right here. I saw this beautiful photo here. This house is snow. There's so much detail. I don't know how to create it, right? Like recently it was the funniest thing ever, right? Like this was the other one. I want to show you this example, right? It was so funny. It was basically like this Japanese garden slash pagoda, they call it, right? So it's basically like one of these Japanese temples and stuff, right? So I want to show you my actual designs here. So something like this one. You see this one right here? Now, you see this one right here. With this one right here, you see this Chinese architecture. Let's just look at it for the fun of it, right? Chinese architecture, ancient style, mountain, bird, lotus. And look at this, it gets even worse. And I'm telling you right now, I didn't write this stuff, okay, by the way, because I have no clue, right? So check this out, right? So somebody put like super detailed CG 1.2. I don't even know what that 1.2 means, right? Wide angle lens 1.4. I think that's to do with aperture or something. I don't even know what octane rendering it means, right? I have no clue, right? So then this is where people give up because they're like, look, I want this image, but like, I don't know how to write all this stuff. And even if you know how to write it, it's only for this one style of image, right? Not for like, what if it is a 2D style? What if it's a photorealistic style? What if it is another type of style, right? Like anime style or whatever, right? So let's open this one up here real quick. A lot of detail, right? A lot of things happening here on this particular image, right? A lot of things here. So there's a mountain here, there's like a lake here and stuff. So this is where that photo to prompt feature comes into play, okay? So this is where, in this particular case, I have this example here, but with the cornflakes and milk pouring in with cereal, right? Now, same thing, you can upload any image and it'll give you the similar prompts that were used. And then you can recreate that type of an image again. No creativity, no need to break your head around figuring out. Like, look at this one. This is the prompt it gave me. Look at this. It gave me a bowl of cereal with blueberries, cereal chips falling into with a spoon in it and a milk pouring out of the bowl, and then it gives a stylistic image, professional food photography, photorealism, or whatever, right? And these things matter. Every little detail here matters, right? If you miss even one one comma here or something, it won't get you the result. So what I did is let me just do that. Like recreated this thing, I copied this thing, and then let's paste this thing here, right? So let me show you. And you can recreate it automatically, by the way. I'm just showing you how you would do it. Look at that. Now, I just want to show you this so you understand, because I showed this example earlier. Some people didn't understand the concept. So the original image had a gray background. This also has a gray background, right? The original image also had like a flooring, if you will, wherever the table it is, it's almost white. It also had the ceramic bowl, like something like this one, right? Or whatever it is. The material was white. It had blueberries. This also has blueberries, right? So the point is that it recreates all those elements and puts them in. Now, but you're going to say, well, there's no milk, right? Like the original one had milk, and I even put milk, and it's not creating the milk, right? This is another big headache with this text to image generation stuff, right? Like I'm just kind of frustrated. I cannot create this milk thing. It's not showing up, right? So what we could do is we can use a little nifty trick that we included in, where you see what I'm doing here, right? So I'm adding in bracket milk. Watch this part right here, right? Milk pouring in out of the bowl, right? So this is basically telling the AI, look, I want to make sure that you have milk show up here, no matter what. This could be blueberries. Like if I did the same with blueberries, more blueberries will show up, right? If I do the same thing with, like, for example, let's say I put strawberries and I want more strawberries compared to blueberries, I just put bracket strawberries, and then more strawberries will be there compared to blueberries. You understand? Just bracket. That's it. Nothing complicated here, right? So I put bracket milk. And then I click redesign. There you go. Got milk. Now, every time I regenerate, the milk will be generated even more so. Isn't that cool? Let me know if you're understanding what I'm trying to explain here, right? That's the basic idea. That's what was so hard with these AI image generator stuff, because it was so difficult to like do basic things and make things appear the way you want to appear, right? Like I want rainfall. I don't know how to add rainfall, right? And so that's the basic idea. And like I want to show you a couple of images here. Like this one right here, right? Like we created these grapes here, for example, and we wanted the grapes to be splashing into water like what you see here, right? And every time we were trying to make sure that the water splash was more pronounced, it was not coming. So we just put bracket, bracket, water splash, bracket, bracket, right? And then it will make sure that the water splash is more, if you will, emphasized. You understand what I'm saying? So that way it will basically create that image much more professionally, right? Now, let me talk about the next one. Also, another cool feature, one of my favorites as well, is the AI in painting technology. Okay. Now, in painting basically means that you can change things within an image. Okay. Like, for example, you could change somebody from wearing a tie to basically changing the color of the tie, or maybe removing the tie of that person. Somebody's wearing a suit, you can tell them to wear a leather jacket. You understand, right? That's basically what in painting is. But we took it to another level. Okay. What we did something really cool here, okay? What we did is you have the detailing as well done, okay? So let me show you what that means. So here, I uploaded the interior design here. Now, this is a little bit of a complex image, right? Now, why is this a complex image? And that's why I'm showing this as an example. First of all, you have lighting coming in from the inside here, right? Then you have lighting here to the left and to the right with these table lamps. And if you see here, there's a darker portion in the area to the right here, a little bit darker portion to the right here, correct? So what's happening here effectively is because of this darker portions here, you got to be careful. Like oftentimes what happens with these things is you say, look, I want to replace, let's say this chandelier here. What happens oftentimes is like you will replace it, but the lighting will be off. Like if you look at it carefully around the chandelier here, right? You see the light emitting here, that's natural, or the chandelier would emit this light, right? This area is a little bit, if you see it more light here compared to the other one, right? So basically, there's a lot of detailing happening, right? So we preserve those detailing even when we change that aspect of it. Like you change a sofa, it will keep the lighting intact. You change, let's say, for example, an object, it will keep the lighting intact. You understand what I'm saying? It will do these things across different areas and different ways here. Let me show you here as an example, right? Check this one out here, right? You see this right here? See that? So what it's doing is you see that chandelier. I selected that chandelier here. And now, basically, right, I just change it to, let's say, a modern chandelier or whatever, right? I want to do whatever I want to do, modern futuristic bright chandelier or something like that. So basically, I could basically click on that in paint design, and then it can change that while preserving that original, if you will, styling, right? So that's the key thing. So remember, we had like this mushroom style looking thing of chandelier. Now it's more, for example, a little bit more unique one, but it kept the original lighting and elements intact. You see that? It looks natural. It looks like it fits right in, right? That is what makes in painting so powerful, especially the one we've implemented, because it's gonna keep that element within that particular styling, right? Very, very critical you understand that, because let me show you an example before I go into that AI prompt enhancer feature, which is also another really cool feature, yes, but let me show you what I mean by that, right? So let's do that right now. So you see here, let me open this up here. So there'll be scenarios, right? There's a lot of detailing happening in an image, right? Let's say, for example, you have this astronaut here, and let's say you want to change this astronaut's flag from an American flag to a Canadian flag. I'm just saying for the sake of it, right? So you would select this area just with the in painting right there, and then you would just select it, and you can say change the flag to a Canadian flag or something, and it would change that area and keep only that area alone, right? Keeps the lighting intact, keeps all the other things intact, regardless of how the image is displayed. Does that make sense? So that is how the in painting would work in real life, right? So similarly, right? Say for example, like you have another detailed image, right? Let's say for example, this is the same astronaut. Let's do this one. We generated this recently. So anyway, you have this astronaut here. Maybe you want to remove this planet here, right? So you could just select that planet and say remove planet, or you can even say like replace it with Earth or something. This one right here. You get my point, right? So you could do specific examples for specific use cases just by selecting that object, right? So for example, here, let's say I'll give you another example here. So this is a very detailed image, right, that we generated here. A lot of things happening. But let's assume you want to turn this one right here. You want to remove this little thing because it's not matching the color theme or whatever. You select that and you can replace it with something else. You can say, for example, you want to replace it with, for instance, another type of a fuel tank, like a yellow fuel tank or a red fuel tank or whatever. You can do that too. Okay. So that's another cool thing that you can utilize here as well. Okay. Isn't that cool? So you could do all these little things with the inpainting, which has a lot of benefit to it. Now, the other one here is the AI prompt enhancer, right? So normally, one of the biggest issues people have is what prompt do I come up with? Because if I have something simple, right? Let me just put this in: a time traveling car set to transport its users to any era in history, right? So there's something maybe you want to use for an ad, or you want to make it usable for pattern interrupt, or make something pop and people pay attention to you, right? Grab somebody's attention, whatever it might be, social media, whatever the campaign is. Then you click on generate design, right? So this is basically the normal use case for most people, and then they get whatever result they get. So I basically got this result here, and this is like a normal everyday car, basically from the 1980, 1940s or 1930s or something like that, one of these Ford models, right? Okay, sounds pretty good. But the issue is, again, like I said, it has value, but look at it. It's a pretty decent output, but not something great, right? You want more detail. You want something really even better. So what we did is we added a brand new feature in our AI prompt extender where I basically got it optimized. It's 1000% better now. Okay, 1000%. That means like it's infinitely better, right? So you click on the AI prompt extender. So I have it open as a new tab here. So now what we can do is just paste the same exact prompt. Okay, a time traveling car set to transport its users to any era in history, and click on the extend prompt. So it's going to take a few seconds right now. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a detailed prompt for this to basically give us both the negative prompts and also the positive prompts. Okay, then what we could do is then we can redesign the process. Okay, there we go, it's done. So now look at this one. Pretty powerful, right? It has a time traveling car capable of transporting users to any era, vintage automobile design infused with futuristic technology, highly detailed, sharp focus, and on, right? So now let's just right click and copy this one right here. And what we have to do is just go back to the personal designs where we generated this, right? Let's say this one was the one we generated. Let me just put photorealistic or even 2D animated, or doesn't matter really. So let's just put any design element styling here, and then let's click on redesign. Okay, and it's going to open up this tab in the bottom here, right? So here we want to just reuse what we have here. So this is the positive prompt. Okay, right click, copy this one, and then this one right here, and then we want to copy this negative prompt. So meaning this negative prompt, we delete this selection that we had prior, the default, and then click on the redesign button. Okay, this redesign button. Let's do that right now. And then it's going to take a few seconds to generate. So basically what we did is we gave more details to the AI to create a much more higher quality image. Does that make sense? It allows us to generate a lot more better, higher quality image, and it's going to give us a much better output than ever before. Now, what makes this really, really powerful is that this idea of I'm not a prompt genius. Look at this one. Look at this. So much better, right? It tells the story better. It's like a time warp around it, and it creates something much, much better. Now, you could even, for example, click on 2D or 3D animated and redesign with the exact same prompt idea. Now, remember I told you some strategies there? So what we could do at the very end, you can remove these two brackets and you can always put 3D style or something like that, right? And then you can put bracket around it so it stresses that part, and then you can click on redesign so that it will do the same thing now in 3D format. Okay, isn't that amazing? So now instead of like a generic design like this one that I just created or this one that I created, now using the prompt extender, you can create a much more detailed prompt to get the end result that you desire just by typing in what you have normally would have typed, right? Just by writing what you normally do. Look at this one. Look at this. Beautiful, right? Look at that. So much better when we did it as 3D now too, right? We have that time machine style output. You get the output and it is a lot better. So this is the strategy here. Super powerful, right? One other strategy I'm going to share with you here. It's going to blow you away as well. Another thing you can do, really, really powerful, is that you can go to community designs or anywhere, even the ones you created in the past. Let's say this one was the image right here, and they basically wanted a forward-looking neck and shoulders male wearing a polo shirt, right? In plain salmon sports cap. Let's say this was the idea here, right? Now what we were doing, changing the style and redesign. What we can do is we can go back to the AI prompts or the AI prompt extender here. Remember the one I just showed you earlier, AI prompt extender. So now what we could do is we can just right click, copy, and paste this one right here, whatever I saw in that previous image, and click extend prompt. And then what it's going to do is it's going to take a few seconds right now, take that same prompt of that particular image and make it better, right? Give it more detail, give it a lot more if you will, heft to it, so to speak, as we like to say. Give it more, if you will, highly detailed areas that our image generation should improve upon. Basically, the AI is thinking what an AI would like, effectively, right? It's much easier if two robots communicate with each other and give instructions robot language than it is for us to do it, right? That's the basic idea here, right? So what we do here basically is you just click on here, okay, and then copy this one right here, and you don't even need to worry about the negative prompts in many cases, okay? You don't even have to, but if you want to, you can probably use it. But let's just even say we ignore that because we already have a bunch of nice little image prompts as well that are pre-used, like these fused fingers and all that other stuff, right? Anyways, you click on photorealistic and you click redesign. And then what's going to happen is you're going to go down here. It's going to come up with positive prompts. You just go back to what I had here, right? This one right here, right? You just select this stuff here, go back here, whatever it is, click on paste here, and then you click on redesign. Boom, done. Then what happens now is basically it's taking the best elements of that particular image and then basically creating a much better output for us. And we're going to get a much better output as well, just based upon what the AI has suggested us that we can use to create. Does that make sense? Super powerful if you think about it, right? Because what that means effectively is before we just gave it instructions in human language. What that AI prompt extender here, what it's doing is whatever we gave in human normal language, it's generating into ones that some AI would understand in more greater granular detail. Isn't that cool? There we go. Much better output, right? Check this out. Looks so much better, right? Similar thing, but looks much more realistic to what this prompt was wanting to create, right? This is what we are trying to do. This is another cool feature. So definitely use the AI prompt extender feature. We made it a lot better. You don't even have to worry about the negative prompts. Just focus on the categories, okay? So for example, in this case, I wanted to create a man at photorealistic. If it was basically something to do with architecture, right? So let me give you an example. So here I have an example with some architecture stuff, right? Like kitchen and all this kind of stuff. So let's say here's another example, architecture stuff. There's another example for architecture here, right? Say for example, just make sure that the category, instead of putting it photorealistic, if I want to do that, put it under architecture. That's going to give you a much better result than just focusing on the negative prompts themselves, okay? That's going to give you a much better result because these categories, and of course we're adding more of them based on your request, these are what matter, okay? These will allow you to kind of force the result to come the way you want it to appear, right? And so just make sure if it's architecture, put architecture, interior design, or whatever it might be. And if it is something to do with like people or humans, just photorealistic, one 3D or maybe something surreal in style, then use 2D or 3D and that sort of thing, okay? Is that cool? So hope you enjoy watching this. If you haven't already gotten Artistly, go to that link. I have that right below, artistly.ai/go. The free trial is completely being removed permanently at any minute now. So it might be even too late by the time you go to that link. So if it is, I'm sorry, you have to pay well over maybe even $200 or $300 or so. And on top of that, you will have to pay credits and you probably will have to buy extra add-ons and all that kind of other stuff, okay? So if you haven't already, if you want the all-inclusive Artistly account right now, get it right now on that link I have below, okay? So and what happens is all these images, by the way, that you generate, right, will basically get added into your personal designs. And also, if you wish, you can also add it into the community design. So basically, these are all my personal designs, right? So that I can basically recreate any of my designs. So for example, let's say this grape thing came out really good. I want to reuse it and I want to reuse some elements of it or whatever. I can just click preview for this one. I can generate the styles and I can redesign it. Or alternatively, I can check what prompts were used, what negative prompts were used, and then I can reuse that as well, right? And similarly, we also have a community designs. This is your own personal designs, right? So the community designs tab is even more cooler. basically what this one does is you have a whole bunch of our community, our folks, right? Just other users creating beautiful looking images with this application, like logos, images, and stuff like that. And you can basically learn from what they're doing. So this was one example that was just created in the community designs here that you see here. This one right here, and so on and so forth, right? You see what I'm saying? Basically, every user is creating new ones. So this was one like right here that was created just recently and stuff like that, right? So beautiful, right? And a lot of them basically are creating logos, stickers, and styles and all this other stuff right now. So basically, that's another cool thing where you can check the community, what they're doing, so you get inspiration from the community, and then you can recreate anything that was created. Let's say, for example, I am creating stuff every day with this, right? Let's say, for example, you like this one right here, like this particular train, right? Let me show you the prompt I used for this one right here. So let's check this one out. A train is traveling down the tracks in the rain, blah, 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 right? And this was the image, right? So if you want to recreate something like this, you can go into the community section, check out what prompts were used, and you can reuse these and rebuild upon it. That's the other big one. That's something that we're very proud of, very excited about, because that means effectively you can get inspiration from all the other folks who are going to be using this application, not just now, but for many, many years to come, right? Which is a lot of fun, very exciting if you think about it, right? Now, basically, this is basically what the Artistly application does, but I want to go a step further, and I'm going to show you some other cool things that we're going to be adding in to Artistly as well as we go along. But I just wanted to kind of understand, that's pretty powerful, right? So far, you're getting super excited, basically learning all this stuff right now, right? Basically, that should be giving you some ideas, right? Now, basically, this application we've been working on, as I mentioned before, for almost close to 10 months now, more than that actually. And the main issue that we face with an application this powerful is, as I said, infrastructure, right? And more important than infrastructure, it is basically the idea of actually going beyond the infrastructure and also having the software work hand in hand with each other, right? And that is where you need somebody who's going to have enterprise grade technologies to work with you hand in hand in order to make it work for you, right? Otherwise, at the end of the day, you're going to be in a situation where you're always going to be feeling left behind, right? So here's an example. So the infrastructure we're spending right now, just on Amazon alone, is 28,684. I'll show you a Google invoice in just a bit, but Google is about 12 to 13,000 a month. So about 40,000 plus $43,000 a month is being spent on servers for this. Because why? What happens, right? If you go into the only competitor for this application at this quality, and I'm going to be upfront about it, the only other application is Midjourney. You want to go buy it, you can buy it. Midjourney, by the way, and all other applications which did AI generation, as soon as the technology got better, they all made paid plans, right? It was free, but then they became paid. Here's Midjourney's plans. I'll show you a little bit here. Monthly subscription, $10 a month, but only fast GPU time, meaning the premium GPU is only 3 hours per month, right? And then you have to pay $30 a month for 15 hours per month. You got to understand, 15 hours per month means in a given day, that's only half a day worth of usage, right? Because 24 hours in a day, right? And pro plan is 30 hours and 60 hours and that sort of thing, right? And basically you're looking at somewhere between $30 to $60 a month in order to really use it, because otherwise it's kind of going to be very slow generation, lower quality generations and stuff like that, right? So you're in the stealth mode, right? That is basically where effectively you can generate images that don't automatically go into their public images, for example, right? That is basically where you got to pay $60 a month to make happen, because they also want to build their community designs thing. But we do give an option, right? Where you can make that choice, okay? But anyway, you get my point, right? So it's $60 a month or $576 a year. That is the only one. And I would say with other features that we have, we are better than that. And the reason why they do this, okay? And this is something I wanted to kind of mention here, because oftentimes you all talk about it and then everybody forgets about things, that type of thing, right? So let me kind of explain this to you. Why do we talk about something like this? Well, it's because NVIDIA made it really, really hard for people to actually afford these high-end servers, okay? Now, because I want you to understand that, because at the highest level, we are doing this stuff day in and day out. We're actually in the trenches doing this stuff, right? So There's only two options. That's why Midjourney also costs so much money. That's why they limit it. I mean, these are companies making billions. They're worth billions of dollars. Why would they need to charge when they could give it away for free or give it for cheap, right? They don't do it because it's very expensive technology wise. Okay. So let me actually show you the real life examples so you understand how expensive this is. This is why other people in our industry puts limits to things, put credits. And also, by the way, they just kill the project after a year and they bail, right? So I want to show you this one right here. Right now, the type of servers you need to run these, right? It's these A100, H100 type of servers from NVIDIA. This is one of them that Amazon uses right now. So check this one out, okay? This one right here is basically $40 an hour on demand. We got it for $25 because we have a special deal with Amazon and Google. So even at $25 an hour, we need to have multiple of these to run. So in other words, $25 times, let's say in a given 24 hours, let's say, right? That adds up quite a bit. You know what I mean, right? So that'll be just about close to somewhere between $700 or more per day, right? Now, I even went a little further, right? Remember, I was trying to tell you, I want to look at something more long term. So I thought, hey, why is this so expensive? So we went in and we figured out this is the NVIDIA A100 GPU infrastructure that they have, right? So I went into NVIDIA directly, right? Why not, right? So this is Kyle from NVIDIA. You see this right here, right? It's Kyle from NVIDIA. So he actually sent me this email, okay? And he's like, look, if you want to get it directly from NVIDIA, it's going to cost you $36,900, $99 per instance per month, right? You're going to have to run multiple of these, and you have to run them on a consistent all-in-one monthly price to get all their infrastructure, right? And that's basically the starting price. And we could get we also get for this 36,000 a 30% discount because in one of their accelerator programs. So you see that, right? 30% discount can be offered for this one. But even after that, 36,999 bucks. You see what I'm trying to say? This is why you will see, if you haven't already, a lot of these businesses go out, like who've basically mobile applications and all these other applications out there, which offer AI image generation, even with lower quality, they started charging $20 a month or putting limits. And even for that matter, you want higher quality, you pay more money. Like, for example, just one of the features alone, right? Like people always ask like, oh, how much is this thing? Like just one of the images, I want to kind of show you an example here so you understand it. Right? The upscaling thing we have, right? So this is an application called Upscale and Enhance Your Images. They're going to say it's free, but let's talk about it. Like you go to pricing, it's only free for 5 images, okay? Just 5. Now, you want to do pay as you go, meaning you buy credits and you want to use it next month if you don't use it and the month after and all that. Just for 100 credits or 100 images, it's $49. 300 images you want to upscale, $99 right here, right? Or you can buy monthly, but then if you don't use the credits, you're going to still pay that 30 bucks a month or 40 bucks a month forever, right? And you're stuck, right? The credits don't roll over, right? It's just on the upscaling. This is the issue, right? So this is the reason why we've been working for many, many months to make the technology work, make it easy for you to use, but also as my birthday gift, I wanted to do something where I've never done before, nobody else will ever do, where basically I want you to take advantage of me, right? What do I mean by that? So what I mean by that, in other words, to take advantage of me, is that every single project that you create within Artistly will be hosted in basically Amazon and Google Cloud. So the same infrastructure that's hosting Midjourney right now, the same infrastructure that is hosting OpenAI or ChatGPT or all this other stuff, right? So same infrastructure, nothing changes. Same NVIDIA high-end servers, the same ones which are very, very expensive and all that. All these projects will be hosted there. So we are not skimping on the infrastructure here, okay? Just so you understand and you're clear on it, not now wasting money and skimping on infrastructure here, right? Now, the second thing then is, how much is this thing then? Paul, you always do something great for us. You're saying birthday special. I mean, it has to be worth something. And let's say normally this is what's happening in our industry, right? And I want to change something. And I've done that too because of the economy right now and all that. I want to give you the best possible opportunity you'll ever gonna get that nobody else will give to you, right? So normally you're gonna see one of these two. You're gonna say, basically you're gonna have a funnel like this with 49 bucks and a whole bunch of upsells because people want to try to make money with this. Or you're gonna have, let's say a bundle. This starts off at 297 and it goes all the way once you go all in, maybe even up to like $497, and then you have to pay for advanced training, some kind of a webinar, additional stuff. And sometimes some people will even do it where they're gonna say, okay, it's not 297, it's only 197, but then buy this upgrade, which is a monthly, yearly, or every 6 months, every quarterly or something, and you end up paying monthly, right? So the idea is that at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't really help you because you want to use this technology for the next few years. You want to use it basically where you want to use it maybe not this month, but maybe next month you have some use to it. Then you have to keep paying that monthly fee or that upgrade or that upsell or all that other stuff, right? Now, I've done it where I've given something like this, where I've done 297 or 197 or whatever, but that also doesn't help you if I'm talking birthday special, right? So what I want to do is first of all, forget about this 49 and all these upsells and all this other stuff, right? I'm not even going to do 297 and all this other stuff. I'm not even going to do all this other stuff, mumbo jumbo stuff you got to pay afterwards. I'm not even going to do it 197 bucks, okay? You can get this right now because I said every single person who's attending this webinar, normally I've done 20 people will get a free copy of an application, or let's say a certain amount of people just for attending might win one copy or whatever some people do. I've done 20, 30, 50 before. No. I want to give you something for my birthday that is absolutely phenomenal, right? Nobody else will do that. So you can get Artistly right now. Okay, and this is only for this webinar, and we don't plan to do it again because we just completely crushed every single thing that in the marketplace yesterday. You can go and get Artistly for a 14-day free trial, okay, right now at artistly.ai/go. Now, this free trial is all inclusive, no upsells, no downsells, no credits, no monthly fees, no hidden fees, okay? Now, you try this out right now, okay? You're basically, after the trial ends, basically, you're going to be billed 2 payments. So basically, after the 14-day trial, you're going to be billed one time for $69 and another 30 days later. So in other words, 45 days from today, effectively, you're going to get billed another $69. So for a total of $138, and that's it. You don't have to pay a single penny thereafter, no credits. All the updates we make will be free. Artistly version 2.0 will be free, version 3.0 will be, version 4.0, whatever release will be for free. I'll talk about some updates we're making today itself, by the way, okay? Now, anyway, the point I'm making though is it must be giving you some ideas here, right? Now, why this is so powerful is that basically you can just go in right now, you can try it out, it's free, and you can cancel it anytime. And you can take advantage of me, use my service, let me spend, like right now I'm spending $43,000 a month on service. It's probably going to be $55,000 or $60,000 a month, right? Doesn't matter. The point is I want to give back to you for my birthday, pay for it using the profits that you generate. That's a long time, right? In order to just get some results. I'll talk about some ways that I'm going to get you results and some things like that in just a bit. And I also talked about some other new features we made since just yesterday's request because I'm listening to your feedback, right? So I've left the link as well in the chat box so you can go to artistly.ai/go. Let me just walk you through the process so you understand and you can play around with it. And you can also immediately jump in and get access to this, okay? So let me do that right now, all right? So all you have to do is just go to artistly.ai/go. I left the link in the chat box for those who want to go there and click and go there right now. So go to artistly.ai/go, okay? You're going to go to a page that looks like a secret page, right? Only you get access to. And then you just come down here and you click on this get instant access. You're going to scroll down here. Now look at that. It's all these are included, by the way. No additional things, no hidden upsells or downsells or bumps or whatever they call them these days. But anyway, right? All of them are included. No watermarks, commercial usage is included, right? And of course, we support you with WhatsApp group, Skype group, Facebook group, and we also have our customer support team, the very best in the industry. If needed, we even have folks on the phone, right? If you can set up like an appointment with somebody from our team, we're also available there if that's something there, but we go out of our way to help you, right? Now, anyway, you go to click instant access here, you're going to land on this page right now, okay? So now, again, we're being very transparent here. Nothing is hidden or whatever, like somebody says it's a free trial, but really at the end of the day, you got to pay monthly fees and stuff. You see this right here, okay? It's $0 today, okay? Go to check out, it's $0 today. 14 days from now, it's going to be $69, one payment, and then another payment will be 30 days later. So again, very simple. You can cancel it anytime. I mean, if it's not worth it for you, doesn't matter. Use it for that 14 days for free. Doesn't matter, right? So basically 14 days later, okay, it's going to be $69 will be charged. And then another 30 days later, okay, so this is basically 45 days from now, right? 30 days later, 30 days after that 14 days, so basically 45 days from now, roughly 45 days, you're going to be charged another 69, and that's it. That's total is 138. This is lower than any other bundle deal or anything I've ever offered myself, right? And I'm giving it even lower than that, right? And this is a technology that costs us more money actually than all the other projects that we've created, because image generation is just as server intensive as video and all that, and people create more images than videos, right? Or text even for that matter. And if you accept the fact that a picture is worth 1,000 words, then you better start creating as many of these photos as possible, right? Now, there's one key thing I want to mention here. While you're checking out, I'll be giving away 3 people today just for attending the webinar, $100. Okay, I'll announce those winners in just a bit. But also, you're all winners. You get to try it out for free. I mean, I cannot do any better than this, right? Like, how can I go lesser than 0, right? So for example, like normally I would have said, look, I'm giving you a deal of a lifetime where I'm giving you a 50% discount for maybe $500 thing. I'm giving you for $250, right? Well, here, I cannot go under 0, right? You're going to try it for nothing today, right? Like the only other way I can make it better is if I pay you to use this application, right? So it's the best thing we'll ever offer, right? And that's why I want to do it as my birthday special so I can give back to you. And there's 2 reasons why I'm doing this, okay? People are asking me this question. Almost, I think 150 people said, I want to pay that $138 right now. Why are you doing this free trial? Well, first of all, it's basically because it's my birthday. I wanted to give a special thing. I've never done a birthday special, so I figured I might as well do it right now. And compared to any other time, this is the most special time for me because I appreciate all the customers like yourself. A second reason being the economy and the interest rates and all the stuff that's out there right now. I wanted to actually help you. I want to give you value here so that you get the best deal out there and help you out so that it takes, you have enough time to pay for it, right? It's almost whatever, it's like 45, 50, 60 days, whatever it is, right? The process. And by then you should be getting results. So I want to have more time there. And the third thing I'm doing actually was because of the vision that I had a few months ago when I was working with Artistly. I actually, every single feature you see in Artistly basically came from either my team or my own little ideas here, right? So one of the things that I noticed was if I can make the community designs as big as possible, right? So if the community designs are as powerful as possible, as useful as possible, then people can see what other people are doing and make a better output from it, right? So that's where it started, right? That's where I basically came across this idea where if you have community designs, right, then you can check what other folks are doing. Like say, for example, like this one, this person created a nice little logo here, or this person right here created like this or this. You'll get some ideas from the community designs tab that we have, right? From the community designs, and basically you'll be able to generate a lot more. Similarly, with people getting in right now, you're going to be treated equal, right? So you're going to have all these list of these options right here that we are creating. So the bigger this is, the more likely it is that the quality of your outputs get bigger, better and better, right? That's another reason why I did this, so that we can have a community designs of as big as possible, kind of, right? And that's the other reason why I want to give access to it. And whether you get the free trial, you're going to be treated the same anyways. Even if tomorrow somebody else buys a bundle for $300 or whatever, or pays the credits or limits or something like that, you're going to be treated equally in my eyes. That's the only way I can gift it, where everybody's a winner, right? Everybody's a winner, where you can get Artistly for a free trial. No need to pay a single penny today. Try it out, see for yourself if it's awesome or not. And then after that, it's really, really powerful, right? And we can start using it and having fun with it. Now, one of the things that I've noticed though is, Paul, what you've showed, all this stuff is clear. I get the idea. It's cool. It looks awesome. But how do I make money with this, right? So I have a couple of bonuses that solve this stuff, this question that you have, okay? And I'm specifically doing it because I know, I can see, right? Because in Artistly, right, you go in on the top, you click on this tutorials tab, which I highly recommend every one of you to watch, okay? This tutorials tab, where I went into every single detail myself, because I want to make sure you hear it from me, because I've used this application for many months, so I know the ins and outs of it, right? So I use how to use all these features that I showed you today, right? But I want to go further than the tutorials, right? So basically, I'm going to be doing live streams and workshops. You can get the replay if you don't, which is going to be advanced step-by-step training workshops. If you need only 2 of them, I'll do 2. If you need 3, we'll do 3. The point being that not only am I going to be talking about new features and stuff you're adding in, but also specifically how it can apply to your business. Okay. So what I mean by that is, we've had customers from all over the world doing a lot of different things, right? So what we were doing basically is, one of the things we can do, for example, is print on demand, right? POD, we like to call it, print on demand. How do you use these for that, right? We'll talk about that. If you want to generate only logos only, where do you sell them to clients, and how do you generate logos from within the application? We'll talk about that. What if you wanted to generate YouTube thumbnails, right? Well, we'll talk about that. YouTube thumbnails, right? Uh, Basically, because YouTube thumbnails too can be something that is something people pay a lot of money for, right? And on top of that, we'll also talk about some other cool things, like say, for example, social media, right? Like if it is just social media management is one thing for content, images are a huge source of content, but also talk about ads, right? Basically Facebook ads, Instagram ads, right? Stuff like that. How do we create image ads basically with this, right? Because see what happens, right? Like right now you could go to fiverr.com, okay? You go to fiverr.com and you could probably charge $10 to $25 per design, okay? But the thing is, that's not what's going to make you more money, because what's going to make you more money is if you actually did the ads for a client, right? You're going to basically be able to charge a monthly fee for doing the creatives, we like to call it. This goes, by the way, the minimum I've seen this right now is $1,000 a month, goes all the way to 10,000 plus revenue share and all that for this kind of work, right? And so I'll show you how to basically same work you're doing, you basically add up here, right? So same thing with YouTube thumbnails, right? It's one thing to generate images, but generate YouTube thumbnails for basically a YouTube creator or influencer, whoever, they'll pay you big money for it because they feel YouTube thumbnails are the number one biggest issue that they have basically that they're basically dealing with. Okay, does that make sense? This is what makes it so powerful, right? So and this should be giving some ideas, right? I hope it's giving you a lot of ideas right now. But this should be the exact same thing you should be looking for, right? Now the same thing with logos, right? There's people who create logos for $50. There's people who charge tens of thousands of dollars for logos, right? So you get my point, right? So we're going to talk about how to elevate what you're already creating, and you can basically take it to the next stage. Get my point, right? So this is what we're going to be focusing on every step of the way in these training series as well. Okay, so does that make sense? So I hope that is giving you some ideas, right? And it must be giving you a lot of ideas. I'm seeing some questions here. That's why I'm basically seeing and checking out. So one of the questions that came in was like, what about copyright, Paul? Like what happens with these images in terms of copyright? So let me answer that too. That's another thing I'm going to be talking about in these advanced training. So basically this is what the question was, right? About copyright. So let me explain to you in real terms how copyright is basically dealt with here, okay? When we're talking about commercial use and stuff. So with AI generated designs, right, they're so brand new, right? The legal framework is not clear yet, okay? But there is one thing that is very clear though. What is very clear is when you generate an image, right? Every time you generate an image, it's very unique, right? So meaning this grapes will be unique every single time, basically. So that's the first one, right? Now the second one was basically if I want to redesign it, it's very unique every single time. It's never the same, right? And the second thing is, you know how we have it in the community designs as well, right? Whenever an image is created in public, right? Like in community designs or whatever it might be, then it becomes something called public domain, okay? So basically something like these, right? These images that are being generated, they become public domain. So when they become public domain, what that means is there's no commercial to that, rights to that. Anybody can use it for commercial purposes or for normal personal purposes and all that kind of stuff. So that's another reason why we put the community designs, because it's very clear cut on that sense. And Midjourney and OpenAI and other companies are still dealing with the, if you will, the framework, right? The legal framework for that. But once that gets sorted, either way, you're going to be good. It's not nothing to worry about there because all these people are still using it and AI is here to stay. But in the community design side of things, anything that is public, at the end of the day, it's public domain, right? And therefore, you could use it for commercial, personal use, and all that stuff. That's another reason why we put community designs, okay? That framework is very clear cut. Now, the other thing I wanted to kind of show you, okay, and explain to you is one of the other key things people were asking, okay, and I wanted to kind of talk about as well. And this one right here, there's another bonus that I have for you, and it's bonus number 2, but actually I'll get to bonus number 2 in just a second. Bonus number 3, let me explain, which is more categories and fine-tuned models. Okay, this is another bonus we're going to be giving you. So remember I showed you, right? If you're going to any category within the application, okay, let's say, for example, we go into, let's say, the background designer, right? So you see here, background designer. Let's say I put, I don't know, put these grapes or whatever. let's say, or you put it into and you do that remove background and all that, it creates categories, right? Stylizer, same thing, right? You put it and you put something, and then you have these stylistic elements here, right? These right here. So these are all behind the scenes categories or models, we like to call them. Like when you add them in, you see this stylized with a prompt and all that, right? Or even if you go here in the AI designer, you see all these here: photorealistic, 2D, 3D, comic, and so on and so forth. Basically, these are also styles. So one of the things that people were requesting recently, which was cool, was they wanted another additional one compared to comic book style as well, right? So if you're creating any children's books, which has cartoons and comic style, like the old school Batman, Spider-Man, all the other comic book styles with your own character, your own superhero kind of thing. So we're adding that one more category because I saw user feedback. But also we're going to be having a product roadmap where what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a public roadmap where I'm going to give you options to basically do that. Okay, so the roadmap, okay, basically is where you can suggest features and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so does that make sense? So you can come into the all right, the question I'm seeing is basically the same question. All right, the comic book question. Okay, so you have a roadmap. So we've done that before in our other webinars and other apps before, but this one's gonna be cool because you can suggest, okay, and basically you can go in and you can suggest for them to effectively, okay, this is what I want. I want comic books. Can you do it? And 100 people requested, and those are the most amount of people requesting it. We're going to complete that as a top priority. Okay. Now, just so you understand, right? If any bugs or anything else is there, that's obviously going to be number one on the list. But in our roadmap, we'll also give you categories and fine-tuned models to give. Like I told you, we have 300 of them. Okay. Right now, when we created behind the scenes, the thing is, all 300 of them, there's some similarities and stuff, right? Somebody wants, for example, only comic book style that will be for comic book pages. Somebody wants, for example, something which has text in it, or somebody would want to have something where it has a specific comic book character in it. You know what I'm saying? Just on the comic book style. Let's say, for example, one which is a photorealistic. Somebody only wants photorealistic. Somebody wants a werewolf hybrid or something, right? So that's the key thing, right? So we have those and we're going to integrate them in as we go along. We have 300 of them. We'll activate whatever you folks request and whatever is easiest for us to implement, right? That's the other one. It's going to be awesome. I'm not going to clog it up and bore you with 100 bonuses because it's going to waste everybody's time. I don't even want you to waste any time even going through the bonuses because they'll all be integrated into the app anyways, right? So you don't have to waste much time on this part. The second thing I'm going to give you is the custom face switcher tool. Okay. And I have one other surprise for you. Okay. If you get in today as well, because this has been with the request. But let's go to this one before we go to the surprise. So the custom face switcher is basically where you could basically switch your face with any of the images being generated within it. And this also comes with the other surprise I have for you. It'll make more sense with you when I explain this to you. Okay, anyway, the custom face switcher works something like this. Okay, again, this is going to be available in 14 days time just because of the server cost for these, because it takes a long time. But let me show you how this works, but I'll tell you when you're going to get access to it. So this is what it is. You can take it and artistically, it's going to change it in any face. Okay. So for example, you give it a face. This could be yours, clients or whatever. And artistically, it's going to change it. So for example, you see this right here. So this one right here, right? Changed the exact stylistically. This is like a realistic looking image. It changed it for this 2D style, right? And it's going to keep that original artistic style effectively. That's the key thing I want to mention here, right? So you see the same thing here, right? So this image, it changed it for this photorealistic style image right here, right? Same thing here. This is like a more neon, new, next generations type of whatever futuristic image, but you see this right here. Changes it and keeps that original eye structure and all that, how they're looking. This was looking at it sideways, keeps that sideways effect here. And also the stylistic look for it. You see this, right? Keeps that stylistic look. And this is Mona Lisa. You want to put Mona Lisa in some other type of a look. This is there. But obviously, I don't want you to do this stuff. I'm just showing you as an example, right? Obviously, you don't want to use celebrities and stuff like that. But you get the point here, right? It keeps the artistic style of that image once you pick the image and you pick it, right? Does that make sense? So this is another Mona Lisa example. This is our good old Ben Franklin, right? Benjamin Franklin. Good old Benjamin Franklin. This is how he would look if he was younger and in modern world, in a cyberpunk world, right? And then Benjamin Franklin again here would look something like this, right? And so this is basically the simple stylistic choices that you can do. So that means effectively, if you ever wanted to do that, you can do this. And also works for not just your photos, but like, let's say, for example, you have a person and then you don't like their face. You want to add somebody with a bearded face or something like that to match your output. You could do that, okay? Now, this is on the face side of things. A lot of you folks, okay, requested something else, and I'll get to that. This will be available in 14 days after the trial is done, by the way. And because the reason is it takes a lot of after 14 days, basically, this is what I'm going to give you access to, just because, to be fair, because our servers are so expensive for these to run. We have 80 to 100 servers running, and I don't want a scenario where like this slows things down for others, right? So it's going to be available at the 14-day trial. Now, the way this is going to basically be structured after 14 days, I'm going to give you access to it. It's going to be within the application itself. You're going to have a tab that you can utilize for this one. And the other point was, this is for a face, right? You put a face, you do it, and basically it's done. Now, the other thing people were asking, and it was a very good question, by the way. I didn't think about it that way, really, okay? I thought about it after I had a webinar yesterday, and it's a fair point. And also I chatted with some of our users like yourself, and I listened to your feedback, right? That's another thing. And this was basically, and again, just a quick thing before I get to that surprise, go to Artistly.ai/go here real quick, and go at it if you haven't already gotten it, right? The free trial. But anyway, what the question was effectively, and I think that was a very fair question and a fair point. And there's a reason why we didn't include it, and I'll explain to you that as well. Okay, by the way. So anyway, so let me explain. So you have an image, right? So remember, I was trying to tell you. So if say, for example, we go into my personal designs here. Let me actually go in there right now real quick, and it'll show you. So if you go into the designer, you're going to my personal designs here. I just want to kind of show you real quick. So what happens, right, in real life scenarios, in real life situations, right, whether it is basically a house or an astronaut or a person or something like that. So let's say, for example, this is the person, right? In real life, when we do this, right, every time this AI generates this face, it's not going to be the same, right? Obviously, you know this part. Every time AI is generating that face is not going to be the exact same thing. So what we did differently, okay, and this is pretty cool, by the way, is, so here, this is right here, right? So if I try to regenerate her, right, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be her exact output. And also, more importantly, once I, give even a different prompt, I cannot control what she's wearing, right? So this also will change every time you try, okay? So in other words, right, you try this out, and let's even do that right now while it's doing it. I'll just show you. So basically, it could be very well where you did some design, right, with her, for example, and then it generated a completely different output. Sort of looks, but not exactly the same, right? So you'll have the clothing being different and all that. Let me give you an example so you understand what I'm talking about here, because this is quite important for you to understand. And we solved that issue, and I'll talk about how we solved it and how you can get access to it and other cool things here, okay? So let me explain. So you'll have two images, right? So let's assume this is one of the images that our app made, right? So this is her, right? Now, this is for a jewelry, we use it for like a jewelry ad and project. But anyway, when we try to recreate by telling her, okay, look, I want to basically change this design and have her wear, let's say, for example, a different style of dress, or maybe even do some other changes to her in person, right? It might do things like that. You can do that within painting, where you can select elements here and all that. But what if I want to put her in the beach? Or what if I wanted to put her in let's say, in an office space or something like that? Then what happens is, if she's moving around or there's some objects, this is what the reality is. You're going to have a scenario where it's going to become like this. You see, it's a different person now, right? So this was the original person, and this became another different person, right? And this is a common thing with AI, right? You cannot really have the AI basically recreate things, and this is another issue you're going to face, and I'm going to show you the other thing as well that is quite commonly done as well. Okay, so for example, right, I'll give you another example so you understand it in even simpler terms here, right? So basically, we tried to do this with, for instance, another example, right? I created another person right now, and I created it with 3D. So this is what another example result came in, right? Completely different person, right? She's blonde now and all that. just because I wanted to change some elements of this original photo, right? You see completely different, right? So it's a little bit, even with the image to prompt scenario, or even if you upload your own photo and you want to stylistically change some elements of it, it becomes a little bit difficult, right? And in order to do this in the past, where you can preserve the original quality of that image, was a little bit tricky, right? So we kind of solved that for you, and this is also going to be available for you after that 14-day trial is done, just so that, because it takes a lot of computer resources to do this, and there's no other company in the planet right now which does this without a monthly fee, by the way. One of the biggest questions that came in is, okay, look, I created an image. Let's say the image was of a cartoon character, right? I want to consistently keep that character throughout my designs because I want to use it for a comic book or a magazine cover or maybe even a YouTube thumbnail or whatever it might be. Well, we go a step further, and this is another feature. We're still working on it, but I'm going to give it to you as a bonus when we have it ready. It won't be 100% perfect, but we're going to make it as great as it can. And instead of selling this, no other technology gives this to you included. They all charge you for actually what we like to call model training and fine tuning. We're going to give this to you as a special bonus again after the 14-day free trial. I just want to give you all the entire farm here, right? To make sure that you get in, because we're not going to have this free trial for long. In fact, probably even be gone by the time you click on that button. That's how exclusive it is. It's going to be gone. It's gone for good. All right. Now you just look on this link, as you can see here, right here. She is a little princess, beautiful princess here. Not a realistic photo, meaning it's a bit of a magazine cover slash, if you will, even, for example, a cartoonist style for maybe a YouTube thumbnail or maybe a comic book or some kind of design like that, right? Now, what's here is if you want to keep her throughout and create different variations of her in different poses maybe, or maybe her holding like some cupcakes or her holding a coffee cup or her doing certain things like that, right? That which you want to do while keeping the original face, because that's the issue with AI photo generation with every application, no matter how big or small it might be. The issue is that keeping the original face intact is the issue here, right? So what you can do here with this tool, again, it's in test mode, is you see this right here. You just click on, you give it a prompt, right? And we're going to integrate it. It's the bare bones system right now, but it's obviously in the Artistly.ai. It's going to be integrated into the technology. But you see this right here, right? So she's the same person, but look at that. She's in different poses here and different elements here, and then it preserves the original face throughout the process. This is the other bonus, okay? So in other words, not only are you going to get the categories, not only the advanced training, not only the face switcher technology, but also this technology, which we're calling it Artistly Custom Photo, where it preserves the original photo and creates different images of that, and you're going to get the access to that when it's ready. It's going to be probably about 14 days or so after when we go live, right? So I hope that is clear. And so in other words, like you get the trial right now, and then after 14 days after your trial, we'll try to push this out. It might be coming sooner, slightly later, but it's going to be a free bonus for you. You don't have to pay anything extra to get that. Super, super professional, because we actually had so many people request this feature. So you're going to give this to you as a special only for a limited period of time. Right now, if you get it now, you're going to be in on this. It's going to be a special bonus. And this alone is worth about $30 to $50 a month with other technologies, just for one here, just one photo that you're going to be doing and keeping the elements intact. So we're still working towards this, and once it's ready, you're going to be added in. This is what I'm saying. We're taking customer feedback in and adding all these cool things for you. Again, putting that into Artistly. This is the roadmap we have, and we're only going to make it better and better with time. If it's this good today, imagine what it's going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, right? That's the goal. That is the main thing that we want to achieve here with Artistly, and to help you get to your goals as quickly as possible and give you the best value possible as well. Definitely you're going to get first dibs at it. I'm not going to charge you any money for it and all that kind of stuff. If you get Artistly and you stick around after the 14-day trial, because if you cancel, I mean, we're not making any money, right? How can we give you something that costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Just for these technologies, just the servers alone cost like $20, $30, $40,000. That's why they're all credits-based systems. That's why they're all so expensive, and they're only going to keep getting expensive because these GPU servers from NVIDIA are too expensive right now, and they're the monopoly in that industry, right? So what I'm saying is get artistly.ai/go. We have the next training session coming up next week, which is going to be our workshops related stuff, which was that first bonus I told you, right? And then with that workshops, what's happening is basically once you come into these live training sessions, what's going to happen is super powerful, right? I'm going to not only show you how to monetize these designs, how to create thumbnails and all that, how to use these internal features, but also I'll show you how to get results with it. And more importantly, how to think, right? This is the thing. I don't want you to just think, oh, my success with Artistly is just by creating a bunch of images or designs, right? I want you to think my success with Artistly is getting results with it, getting revenue from it. That's why I'm giving you enough time too, right? Because at the end of the day, 14-day free trial means You have 14 days to start generating a profit with it. And at the end of the day, you can take advantage of me in those 14 days. And then, by the way, just want to be very clear so you understand this. This 138 bucks we're getting is barely break even for us. I want you to understand we're not gonna make profit off of it. What the goal here is to give you value as my birthday to give back to you in a big way. Later on, for other customers in the future, we're gonna charge credits. We're gonna do other stuff. We've done that, by the way, for other applications so far. So you've probably seen where we added credits or upgrades and monthly charges and stuff like that. And people will happily do that if they buy the best tool in the industry, right? If we are coming against, let's say, for example, our biggest competitor here and the only competitor here is Midjourney, and we are cheaper than them, better than them, and better quality output than them, and better features than them, people will pay similar money, right, to Midjourney. That's the exact same concept here. You don't have to pay that, but they will. Now, here's the key thing here. You're going to be able to generate unlimited, so there's no credits or monthly fees and stuff like that. And second thing here that is very important, I'm going to answer some questions and announce some winners as well in just a few minutes. But the other thing here that I want you to understand is that there's no yearly fees or hidden upsells and stuff. Once you get in, you can log in right away. Does that make sense? So once you get in, you can basically log in right away. And once you log in right away, you're set, right? You're good to go. And you watch my tutorials, definitely watch my tutorials though. Don't just jump in without watching my tutorials because they're going to show you how to use different features, right? But isn't that cool? So what all you learned so far? So just to give you a recap, right? Because we covered a lot of things, right? So in Artistly, right? When we go in, you can go and get it at artistly.ai/go. I'm posting the link in the chat box as well so you can go to it. Now, what's going to happen is the price is going to increase for sure. The free trial will be removed. Obviously, I cannot do it better than free. How can I do it, right? The second thing is I want to mention here, if you want to change your mind, come back later. Just because of server expenses and stuff, the price will go up and we'll probably put a credits-based system. So it might be like you can do 100 per month or something. But you will be logged in now and you know a track record, right? Like even now, like you look at 10 years plus we've been in cloud applications. For 15 years, I've been doing other applications. Back then we have desktop applications and stuff, right? The last years we've been in question has gone down. It's been up and down, and we've only been updating our applications and making them better and better, right? So you can understand the true power of being the best in the industry when you keep updating things. And so you can use this application in 5 years from now. And it's only going to get better and better as I'm taking your feedback. I'm personally talking to everybody. I'm personally talking to you folks and getting better and better. We are in our Skype group, Facebook group, and so I'm taking all the feedback. My team is taking in as much feedback as possible and making it as better and better as possible, right? So now what I meant to say here real quickly with Artistly in particular, and why this is so exciting and such a fun project for me too, is you see all these features, right? For the first time ever, all these features right here that you see, they're all integrated in, right? Like you can use the design to prompt feature, right? So like let's say for this one, I want to show you this one. This is kind of cool actually. Hopefully she can open up. So I got this image, right? And I have no clue how they created this. Is she an elf? Is she something from Lord of the Rings? I don't know what she is, right? She's not a human for sure, right? So is she an angel, right? The problem is when you want to recreate an image like this, we don't know what prompts to use, right? So I used the design to prompt feature, for example, and then I got the exact same style of image that I can recreate now in the application, right? You see this right now? And then I did the same thing if you scroll down for all these other ones here, right? For like this, this thing here, this train here, for example, and stuff like that, right? Now, why this is so powerful is that it allows you to quickly be creative. It's all integrated into one application. That's what makes it so powerful, right? You don't have to do in different areas and different business, different apps and stuff like that. Now, the other thing also is all these features come hand in hand in different areas. So let's say, for example, the AI stylizer, for example, works really well with specific design choices that you make. So let's say, for example, you want to change the style of something, add snowfall, add rainfall, add some objects, and we're still exploring things, by the way. I mean, we're still adding things and moving things around and still making things happen, but you get my point, right? So it only is going to get better and better with time as we understand users' behavior and stuff like that, right? Like, for example, this is one choice. You want to change this into something else. Let's say, for example, you can do that. Now, the other thing is, similarly, the background designer also works really well where you have a subject and then you have a background that you want to separate, like that shoe design I gave you, right? So if you go back here in the shoe design here, you see it's a clear-cut thing. And you have a subject and a background, then you can put that shoe over into another background like this, right? It works really well in that setup. Or you can even do things like this, for example, what I did here and stuff like that, right? It works really well. So you see different features have different use cases. That's why I always say follow the tutorials tab here. So then you walk through and you can actually do a really good job of getting to the end result here, right? Of recreating really beautiful designs. Now with my training, you're going to get to the last hurdle of the last 10% on how to get even better results. Now, what I mean by that is basically, if you think about it, right? Having an image like this looks awesome, looks cool. Okay, wow, she's a princess, and wow, that's all great that we recreated. But what is the use case here, right? So let me give you an example, okay? So you understand, and this is the reason why it's so important that when I do these workshops, I value them more than the application many times, right? So you go to Fiverr.com, right? So right now you could get somebody to write an article for you on Fiverr, right? So you can say article, okay, for like $5. Okay, somebody will write an article for like $5, $10, and stuff like that, right? Then ChatGPT came along. People can do articles for like even faster than that or whatever, right? Like this person right here. I'll create our original articles for you like $5 or something, $8, whatever it might be, right? Now, the thing is, in order to write an article which is 500 words, right? It's going to take maybe 20 minutes to do, right? Even if you use ChatGPT and you want to edit it and stuff, it's going to take you still 15 minutes, right? In that same 15 minutes, if you write a copy, right, like let's say for example a website copy, right, what we like to call a landing page or whatever, copywriting, you can charge 100 times more money, right? So somebody who's charging here $5 could immediately change and charge a lot more money, like let's say $500 for a copy, right? Similarly, if you see any website, like any website worth their salt, right? You go to Facebook and you can check any website, you'll see images, you'll see, for example, thumbnails, you'll see a lot of things happening, right? So it's not just always going to be a thing right here. See, we have a lot of people posting the images that they're creating in Artistly, which is awesome, by the way. Great to see. You can keep posting, by the way. What I'm doing beyond the 3 winners I'm announcing today is what I'm doing on top of that also is that when people are posting, like Detlev posted here, then I had another one we saw right here. I saw Cheryl as well posted. So I'm going to be picking almost every day or so winners from people who are posting in here. Okay. So is that cool? Now look at what she said here. I was ready to pay $20 a month to learn this, but Artistly touches every point that I need. Thank you. So she was ready to pay $20 a month because you see, the point is that once you know how to use this, it makes a lot more sense. Like this is another thing I want to show you. This is Maxio or some companies paying a lot of money on ads. There's another one with photos here. You see all of the landing pages will always have photos in them, right? Let's go to maxio.com here. There we go. See, you have photos here. This is a photo. You have text, right? And then you'll always have images. You see these thumbnail style images. And then you'll have text, right? You'll have images like here and text. This is a proven format for copy, right? Writing, copywriting and stuff like that. So both go hand in hand. If you end up doing both, you're going to make more money from it, right? Same job, same effort. You put the same 20, 30 minutes, but when you put it words to paper and images to paper, so to speak, or images to page, you can charge 100 times more money. Let me give you an example. I've written copies like these where I've personally got paid 6 figures or more personally. Now, will you do that? Not probably not. But why I'm saying that is the power of actually putting something together. That's what I'm going to teach you in the training series. Okay, that's the key thing. Because otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to be in this $5 jobs, right? I mean, this $5 jobs, and it's not worth it for you, right? And then you're going to go into that vicious circle where it's not going to help you anymore, right? So just keep this in mind. All right. Now, so basically the advanced step-by-step training, remember I told you this is where you're going to talk about things like thumbnails and some other real stuff. And by the way, some of these things, right? Like say, for example, video, right? Artistly doesn't create videos, but we have other video creation tools that we have, right? Say, for example, Human Pal, or say, for example, other apps that we have. Now, I'll show you how to integrate them together, right? You know what I mean? So that's another thing. So tools which are free out there, tools that you already have. I'll show you how to use them and use these images for videos. Let's say, for example, you can use this in Sketch Genius to create sketch videos, convert that image into a sketch painting style videos, right? You can do that. I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to edit these images with using edit tools you already have from us, right? So the point I'm making is that's the other goal here. We always build applications that integrate well with other applications. I'm going to show you that in this training as well. So you don't have to look around for other places for solutions. You have them all in one place, and you don't have to keep buying product after product and not knowing what to do next, right? Now, the second thing that I'm going to be sharing with you, and this is also another really cool thing, is effectively how you can navigate through the process of success, right? So success for you should not be, okay, I created a bunch of cool images, I'm done, right? Success should be for you, okay, how do I use these images to the overall workflow for my agency? Let's say you're doing it for clients, for let's say for your own business, how to grow your own business, right? How to use it, for example, for social media traffic generation, lead generation, stuff like that, right? Because when you have a holistic perspective in my training you're going to get, it's going to help you succeed much faster than ever before. It's as simple as that. There's nothing really magical about it. It's just a question of implementing things, right? There is a saying, right? You probably heard that saying. The saying goes, okay, a plumber came into my house and they charged me, say, $150, right? The plumber came in and charged 150 bucks for like that 15 minutes of work. Well, the plumber says it's not 15 minutes or 5 minutes. It's knowing where the problem is to fix it, right? The same issue here is in real businesses, people pay money not because they know how to create a thumbnail. It's a question of can somebody do it consistently for them, right? That is where the money is. The money isn't actually getting the actual completion of a task, right? And I'll pay premium money for that every single day, right? There are people I'll pay $1 million, right? Last year I paid somebody $700,000 because they could show me quantifiably to solve one issue, right? One issue we were facing in our business. They showed they'll spend however long it takes to solve that issue, but they were for sure going to solve that issue, right? I could have solved that issue for 1/10 of the cost or maybe even less. But the thing was, there was no guarantee, and time is money, right? So a lot of business owners think the same way. They're on social media generation stuff. Well, people will pay you money if you can consistently get done, not just do it once or twice, which anybody could do, right? So that's the basic idea. That's what I'm going to teach you here to think bigger in that sense. The second one, as I told you, the bonus was custom face switcher. So this one, by the way, okay, so let's talk about the time. This one will be starting next week, okay? I might do 2, 3, depending on how many requests there are. If it's only one is required, I'll do one. It all depends, right? Sometimes I don't want to do like tons of these trainings and then people get bored and also there's no value. And also there's only so much I can teach you if it is such an easy application to use anyway, right? So that's the idea here. You're gonna get the recordings. You're gonna do it live in our Facebook group as well. Now, the other thing is the custom face switcher. This one will be available after 14 days, okay? Once your trial finishes, because I'm giving it to you for free right now. So effectively, it's going to help us, get some out of it because these are much more intensive in terms of cost. As I mentioned before, as I showed you in the video earlier, the way this works, so you understand, is basically for any image, it will change the face, regardless of which direction that face is facing, okay? It's also useful, for example, where in the same YouTube thumbnail scenario, it comes very useful, right? In cases where, for example, you're creating a membership site for yourself and you want to make sure that you're pointing to some membership site or something, you can make sure that it's consistent across the board, right? It has some use cases like that, which I'm going to teach you in the training series, by the way, right? So this is the idea. This is going to be available after 14 days, as I mentioned before, okay? So this is the idea. This is basically Mona Lisa here or whatever. Again, it's not for celebrity purposes, just for demonstration purposes I'm showing you. So, but you see this, right? Good old Benjamin Franklin, regardless of what it shows up in this way. But it'll give you some ideas, right, for you. But mostly it works for personal brands, influencers. It works really well for thumbnails. It works really well for membership sites and stuff, landing pages, stuff like that, right? Because I use it all the time for that purpose. It does really well. People pay big money for that because a lot of thought leaders, book publishers, authors, coaches, they want to have their own branding on their landing pages, right? Anyway, the other thing, as you can see here, is the more categories and fine tuning of the model. So I only have 3 bonuses. I don't have 100 of them. And I want surprise because these are all going to be integrated into application. No confusion, no junk where you just sit there with like a zip file with like some crap you never use, right? It has actual use case. So anyway, so you see that, right? More categories and fine-tuned models. This is when we're going to add in based on your feedback. What the community suggests, we're going to add them in. Now, here's the cool thing with this, okay, which is so exciting for me, is that we have a lot of these done, and some of them I don't even know if people will use, but I'll add them anyway in the future. So you don't even need to give me requests, but I'll just prioritize things, okay, based on how people like it and what they suggest and that sort of thing, okay? And then the final surprise bonus I showed you was, again, this one is categories will be added in from our next training session, by the way, just in case you're wondering. So I'll give you the notification details in the next 48 hours when that training is, when you can register and come in. And if you cannot join in live, you can get the recording for it, okay? But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that the idea here, which is effectively, the other surprise bonus I mentioned here, right? This was the original image. You're going to have the scenario come in with these images, right? Which Midjourney also cannot do this, by the way, okay? Midjourney cannot do this. A lot of other tools cannot do it. And even if they do it, they take a long time to do this. And also the other issue with the way they do it is effectively, oftentimes it's designed for everybody, right? So like Midjourney is like trying to serve 100 million people, or OpenAI is the same thing. So they don't have specific use cases that it will be like for YouTube thumbnail purposes. We can fine tune this thing or optimize it, let's say, for that purpose. So our generation will be faster because of that, right? You don't have to sit for like 1 hour for this thing to finish, right? It'll be much faster. So that's the basic idea. Hope that is making sense with you, right? And you can basically play around with it. But anyway, you see this right here, right? So see how it kept the original person, right? The clothing style and all that. And regardless of what design style, looking away, looking in, looking here, looking away, it keeps the styling, right? See that stylistic, the clothing is the same. And this is very difficult to achieve with humans, because every single time you generate something, it basically generates something effectively unique, right? And keeping that original elements, the clothing style and all this other stuff is very tough to do, especially on images that you just bring in out of thin air, right? Like for example, like her, right? Like she was generated with AI, right? It's very difficult to keep her every single time because it just, there's something called hallucination, right? It's very difficult. So that's one good thing that you can do, where any person, specifically with people, it does a pretty good job, probably the best job. People, statues of people, stuff like that. You get my point, right? So you can keep that person intact throughout the process. And if she's wearing this clothing, it'll be this clothing. This also works really well in the case of like authors and coaches and consultants and stuff like that, where you want to put it in your membership site, you want to do things, right? So you'll be able to basically be able to do stuff like that, okay? So hope that is being basically making a lot more sense, right? So that way you understand the true power of something like this, right? So here's an example of what I wanted to show you, right? This is one of the thought leaders in the industry or whatever. You see this, right? You'll have one image of them speaking like this, and then you'll have another image like this, and another image like this. It's so difficult to get these images that is making sense oftentimes, right? So you can preserve the integrity of that person and then reuse that person with the same clothing style and all that, and put them in, you know, like looking at it from a straight faced, looking left, looking right, stuff like that, basically, okay? And this could also work like for this person's image, let's say, for example, stuff like that. We're perfect for that. Perfect for YouTube thumbnails as well, by the way. Works really well for that. I've tested it, and that's the reason why I actually had that feature that we were using internally for. That feature, by the way, nobody will ever offer it to you for a one-time price, ever. Even I'll never offer it after this one. But I just wanted you folks to have a look at it, test drive it, give you as much value as possible. It's going to be available after 14 days, no exceptions on that, unfortunately, simply because of the server costs alone. It's very, very taxing on the servers, okay? All right, so that said, one last point I want to make here. This doesn't end here, this webinar, okay? This webinar does not end here. First thing I want you to do, next steps, very simple. Go to Artistly, okay? Log into Artistly, right? Once you got in, when you went into artistly.ai/go, that link, right? You're going to go log in, and there's going to be a small question mark on the top right. Or alternatively, once you log into Artistly also, you're going to see this. Click here to watch Artistly tutorials, right? You click on that, okay? You're going to watch these tutorials. Okay, they're very short. They're not very long. I mean, you're going to be done in about 25, 30 minutes probably, or less. So they talk about each feature, right? So if you're going to use the upscaler, please use the watch the tutorial in the upscaler before you use it, right? Image stylizer, use that tutorial, right? Now, definitely watch this before you even begin creating images, because it's going to allow you to get better quality results, okay? Now, I went into a lot of detail here. And then second thing is, the next thing is, once you're creating your images and stuff like that, what you can do is you can post into our Facebook. I highly recommend you to do it. Unlike other folks, other gurus, where they hide behind what their application does, I actually want you to use and publish Artistly, good or bad, you know, because I want to know also where we can improve, right? Where there's scope for improvement and stuff like that. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that basically here is, we can then award winners. Like I said, I'll pick random people who are posting in our group and do so. And also I can make the application better. It's almost like a double whammy, right? You get both. You get an application, we're going to keep improving. And then we're going to make sure that we keep improving things even beyond that as well, right? So that way you have both. You can improve things and you get to win prizes. It's both, right? So again, that said, the other thing as well, I said that also doesn't end there. Okay, in the Facebook group, I'm going to continue the training, right? So today I had to do two jobs, right? I had to juggle through two things. One was explain the power of Artistly and get you involved into Artistly, right? Meaning get started, right? Register and get started with Artistly. The trial, you got it for free, sure. That is a pretty tough job to balance within a specific amount of time, right? What I do in my training, specifically the workshop, which was that bonus I gave you, right? These advanced workshops, for example, I focus only on the power of the application and nothing else, right? I just show, okay, look, these are the features. This is the feature. This is how you use it for YouTube thumbnails. This is how you use it for, let's say, social media campaigns. This is how you use this other application of ours to create videos with these images. This is how you use this other application of ours in order to create, let's say, for example, professional quality brochures or professional quality images, right? Like right now, Artistly and these AI stuff like Midjourney, maybe they're not that great in text, but this is the tool you have already access to from us, whether it's a free tool, you already have it within our toolkit where you can use it and then you can add text as well. These are the things I'm going to be covering, specific use case based training. And that's where I'm going to do in our Facebook group as well live. So you can jump in, ask questions, and it'll always be there. And also you'll get the high quality replay as well later on that you can watch at any time. I'll put it in the tutorials page as well if you cannot join in live. The point being that this is a community effort. This is not my only point where I'm just putting up my features in my head. As the community grows for this one, it's only going to get better. And creative aspects, as I said, creative projects, they will only get better as you see other people doing better and better jobs. And even I cannot probably think everything out there, right? My brain cannot think every other creative way you could use it, right? So that's the other reason why I want to have you involved in the community and post what you create and stuff, so you can interact with each other and grow together. Okay, and we've been inundated with that process where people are super excited about that aspect, the community designs and stuff. The goal, again, as I was trying to mention to you earlier, is please understand that this is a long-term project for us as well. I want you to think of it like a year or 2 years down the line, how good it's going to get if it's this good now, right? Because there's so many things we can do with images, right? Like with text, we can only maybe write a bunch of stuff. With images, you can really tell a story, right? And images are also a very good precursor to videos as well, right? So you can import these images into other applications, which I'm going to train you on as well. Okay. So that said, hope you have a great day or night wherever in the world. I wish you all the best, and I'll be here for a couple of minutes more to answer any questions you have in the chat. But you can also email our support team at support@artistly.ai. So have a great day or night wherever in the world. I wish you got great value. I'll be here for a couple of minutes to answer any questions via chat, but I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Enjoy using Artistly just as much as I'm having fun using it. Really, really a lot of fun. And I look forward to actually having you post the designs with the community and interacting together and winning some prizes as well in return. Okay. So take care, good luck, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.